Srimati rAmAyaNam. It is our bhagyam to have Uve Saradi Dodadri Swami amidst us to conduct this workshop on Sri Ramayana. Swami is a disciple of Srimad Paramahamsa Ityadi Pattar Viran Vanamavajiyar, the 29th Pattam of Dodadri Mutt. Swami is also a descendant of Commander Ilevalli Achan or Balathambi Swami, a cousin of Sri Ramanuja. Swami was born in Alvar Tirunagari and grew up in Tiruvallikeni in Chennai, lived in Sri Perumbudur and presently is living in Srirampur. Swami learned Sampradayam principles from the present Vadi Keshari Ardiya Manavada Sampatkumara Jiyar Swami, Velupudi Krishnan Swami, Vomatam Sampatkumaracharya Swami, and many others. Swami is also a full-time servitor in translating an Arvas and Acharya's works in simple Tamil and English, and coordinating the translation effort in many other languages. Swami is also engaged in teaching Divya Prabandham, Stotrams, Bhagavad Gita, and many more, and giving lectures on various Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam related topics in Tamil and English regularly. Swami is also taking care of the Koil.org portal, which is a humble offering to our Purvacharyas. Koil.org is a part of Sri Varavaramuni Sambandhi Trust initiatives.
ஆழ்வார் எம்பெருமானார் ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். ஸ்ரீ சைலேஷ தயாபாத்திரம் தீபக்தியாதி குணார்ணவம் யதீந்திர பிரவணம் வந்தே ரம்ய ஜாமாதரம் முனிம் ரம்ய ஜாமாத்ரி யோகீந்திர பாதரேகாமயம் சதா ததா யத்தாத்ம சத்தாதிம் ராமானுஜ முனிம் பஜே லக்ஷ்மீநாத சமாரம்பாம் நாத யாமுன மத்தியமாம் அஸ்மத் ஆச்சாரிய பரியந்தாம் வந்தே குருபரம்பராம் யோனித்யமச்சுத பதாம்புஜ யுக்மருக்ம வியாமோகதஸ்ததிதராணி திருநாயமேனே அஸ்மத் குரோர் பகவதோஸ்ய தைகி சிந்தோஹோ ராமானுஜஸ்ய சரணோ சரணம் பிரபத்யே माता पिता योतयस्तनया भूति सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य न कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्ग्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं शरश्च महताह्वये भट्टनाथ श्री भक्तिसार कुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्ग्रिरेणु परकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्. First of all, my apologies for coming late to the program. Unexpectedly, our events got a little bit delayed in Tirunarayanapuram, where we were in the morning. We started around 2:15 from there, and it took us about close to 3.5 hours, 4 hours to reach here. That is why the delay. And thank you for this wonderful arrangement, especially for Srimati Bhargavi, who has done a lot of running around in trying to organize this program, and of course for the residents of this community who have very graciously given this space to discuss about dharma. In this day and age, just to discuss about dharma itself is a very fortunate opportunity for us. Yes, this is the age of Kali, where adharma will be prevailing more. Although we should be very happy that we are just in the beginning of the Kali Yuga. In fact, we should be very happy that there is a lot of good things are happening in this world even now. Now, once we understand that the nature of this Kali Yuga is to give us trouble, give us suffering, give us sorrow, then we are still not there yet. Kali is suffering, Kali is degradation of any religious activities, any religious principles, and so on. கையில் வச்சுக்கணுமா? ஆள் இருக்கு. Yeah. But in spite of that, we are in the Kali Yuga. Still, we see there is a lot of activities related to our dharma are happening. Not even just in our Bharata Desham, but all over the world. So we have to be happy in that sense that we are still in good times. Our topic for today is Dharma Basics from Sri Ramayanam. We are going to go through a series of aspects which will help us understand what is Dharma, how do we learn and understand Dharma, and how do we apply Dharma in our lives. First of all, we have to see what is Dharma. This word Dharma in Sanskritam, it has several meanings. Dharma could be charity. We usually say, do some dharma, do some charity work. Dharma could be nature. We see in Sanskritam or in our Purvacharya commentaries and so on, we see dharmi and dharma. Dharmi is the person, entity, and dharma is the nature or qualities of that particular entity. Dharma is also a set of rules which we are following. So if someone asks, what is your dharma? Then we say, we follow these principles. We wake up in the morning early, we worship Bhagavan, we do puja. So this is also explained as dharma. So dharma has several meanings. Dharma also has a meaning that it is a way to attain something. For example, in our Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, we have great significance, importance for Bhagavad Gita Charma Shlokam. That is, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vacha Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha. That is Bhagavan himself declaring that give up all dharma and surrender unto me. So there, give up all dharma means, it doesn't mean that give up all the noble things we do. There it means that give up all the means which help attain me. Rather than considering those other means, consider me as the means to attain me. Consider myself to be the way to attain me, says Bhagavan. So there dharma means a particular way or a process which leads to a goal. So this dharma has several meanings, connotations. What we are going to see here today is about our lifestyle. Dharma also has this meaning that it's our lifestyle. For example, Sanatana Dharma. We often hear this phrase, Sanatana Dharma. This Sanatana Dharma means eternal way of life. That is one way people explain that. This eternal way of life. So here, Dharma, Sanatana means eternal, what is there forever. And Dharma means a way of life, a particular lifestyle. So we follow a lifestyle where there is respect for nature, there is respect for each individual entity, each Atma, respect for all aspects of life. So these are all part of our Dharma. So we are going to see a little bit about our lifestyle. That is the intent I had in my mind when we had this topic, Dharma basics. So, what are the basics in our lifestyle which our elders, who are very good, knowledgeable, very noble, very outward looking, very open minded, and very magnanimous personalities? If you look at our saints, rishis, if you look at our alvars, if you look at our acharyas, they were all never focused on self praise, self glorification, or any wealth, or any fame, name. So all the rishis, all the alvars, acharyas, they were all focused on welfare of the people, everyone. And it's not exclusive, it is inclusive. It is an intention to help everyone in this world, and not just help in a bodily platform, but beyond that, help people in a spiritual platform, help the atma grow, help the atma realize his true nature, help the atma realize what is the ultimate goal, and help the atma realize the means to attain that goal, and what are the hurdles in attaining that goal. So these are the scope in which the noble people of our dharma, the rishis, the alvars, the acharyas, they all worked for this goal only. So this is the scope of our discussion today. So the way I have prepared this presentation, I've got a presentation which unfortunately you all cannot see, but I'll go through that presentation and give the content to you. But it's live broadcasted, so they will at least see this presentation. In this presentation, I will take all of us through this basic principles of our Sanatana Dharma. What is it made of? And after that, after this brief introduction, we'll go through how to be a good person. This person or a role could be many: a parent, a child, a teacher, a student, a brother, a sister, a friend, a servant, and so on. So there are many different roles which we all don at different times. Right now, I'm sitting in a position where I share what I have learned from elders. When I was at the temple, I was a devotee there. I was just one amongst the devotees there. When I started yesterday from Sri Rangam, I was a family man with my wife and son. So the same person having different roles. In each of these roles, how best we can be, and what are all the role models for us to look up for. So these are some of the aspects I'm going to present here. And then finally, a small conclusion, a small summary on what we will what we would have learned or observed from this particular session. So that is the design I have. And we will have a question and answer session. Anyone has any questions towards the end can feel free to ask the questions, and we will discuss my realizations and whatever Purvacharyas, whatever elders have um, said in such topics, such questions. So that is the design I have in my mind. So we'll start with the presentation. I'll take you through the content here. So we're going to see Dharma basics from Sri Ramayanam. Now the reason why we chose Sri Ramayanam is a is the Sri Ramayanam is a very universal epic. Everyone appreciates the message of Sri Ramayanam. Everyone enjoys the different personalities who are seen in Sri Ramayanam. That is why we chose Sri Ramayanam, and it's also an epic which is very rich in philosophical principles, concepts, which we can easily relate in a humanly level, because all the characters, all the personalities in Sri Ramayanam, mainly they are human, and they have lived lives as each one of us would live, and they've gone through so many different experiences which are easy to relate for us at different occasions. So that is why we have chosen Sri Ramayana. Um, so we'll go through this particular sequence of slides which I have here. So we'll start with Sanatana Dharma. In our context, obviously, coming from a background of Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam, we keep it in scope of Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam. But it is not something which is very narrow-minded. It is very open-minded. We present concepts from our Purvacharyas, present concepts from Vedas and Vedantas very frankly and very honestly. They present information as it is. There's a lot of places where even things may not be palatable for us, but they present the information as it is because they are very honest in their outlook and their presentation. So this Sanatana Dharma, we are focusing on the Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma, as we saw, is the eternal way of life, eternal philosophy which guides people. For Sanatana Dharma, we need a source of knowledge. That source of knowledge is Shastra. Because anything, any subject we talk about, let's say a person, a scientist comes and talks about quantum physics. Immediately someone will ask, what are you going to base your discussions on? What is your foundation? What is your source? Then the person will say, this particular scientist have done some research and he has presented this paper and this is the foundation for us. Similarly, for Sanatana Dharma, for Sanatana Dharmis, for all of us, the Pramanam. Pramanam means Pramakaranam. That is, Prama is knowledge and Pramanam is tool for acquiring knowledge. The tool for acquiring knowledge is Shastram. Shastram is the wide terminology we use for a collection of scriptures which are presented, which are brought forward for us by our rishis, alvars, and acharyas. So the Shastram is the key pramana. The whole Shastram, the Shastram is made of many different parts, which we are going to see. This whole Shastram is for the welfare of the Jivatma. Now we are introducing another new term. So as we introduce new terms, I will try to explain at least a few words about those terms. So Shastram is for the welfare of Jivatma. We have broadly, our acharyas have shown that there are three types of entities in this world: Chit, Achit, and Ishvara. Anyone will agree on this. Anyone who has studied Vedanta will agree on these terms. Chit means sentient persons, knowledgeable persons, conscious entities. So this Chit is Atma, Jivatma. And then there is Achit. Achit is insentient objects. Anything which lacks consciousness, knowledge. What are those? Anything which we see. So Atmas are nothing but us. We are all Atmas. Because I have consciousness. When I wake up in the morning, I know that I am here. So every one of us, when we wake up in the morning after a sleep, we know that we are here. Our presence is understood by us. That is the consciousness. That consciousness is the one which makes us realize that we exist. So we are Atmas. We understand our existence. Now we also have knowledge. Apart from our own consciousness is that feeling of I. Apart from that, we also know what is there around us. We see there is a chair, there is a table, there is a computer, there are other people, there is a bureau, there is a picture of Bhagavan Sri Ram. So we understand all of these through our knowledge. So this knowledge is present for Jivatma. Jivatma is a conscious entity, and the conscious entity Jivatma has knowledge. Now, apart from this Jivatma, whatever we observe, whatever we see, whatever has a name and a form, all of those are Achit. Anything which we can see, that is Achit. Now, Jivatma we cannot see with our senses. We cannot touch a Jivatma. We cannot see the Jivatma. We can only feel ourselves. And we can feel the presence of others by our inner sense, by mind. That just like we are behaving, we are interacting, we are doing things with the help of our consciousness and our knowledge. Others are also doing that. So we can only relate to it by our mind. We cannot physically observe Jivatma. We can observe the presence of Jivatma, but we cannot observe the Jivatma. So whatever we see, whatever we touch, all of those are achit, insentient. So this table, this computer, this mouse, this keyboard, this mic, everything is achit, including our body. We will think that our body is different because body has certain way to react. It reacts to others actions, it reacts to our own impulses and so on. So we think that it has, body has knowledge. The body doesn't have knowledge, only atma has knowledge. Atma is stimulating the body through the sense of mind, and then from mind it goes to other senses, eye, ear, nose, and so on. So, knowledge transmitted from Atma through mind to senses, and it goes and hits other objects which are in front of us. That is grasped, and then it goes back to the sense, and then it goes back to the mind, and it goes back to Atma. That is how we understand things, what's going on around us. So, whatever we see, whatever we touch, whatever we can physically feel, those are all achit. So that includes our body also, because this is where we have to know that atma is different from body. This is very foundation in our dharma. This is not seen in any other dharma, any matam. They have their own set of principles, philosophy. No one talks about atma. Only our sanatana dharma clearly identifies what is atma, and that atma is different from body, mind. It is different from senses, it is different from prana, it is different from everything else which you can relate to. It is the consciousness alone. So this atma is coming under the chit category. All other entities, physically touchable, seeable, viewable entities, they all come under the achit entity. And then there is one controller for all of these atmas and achit. There is one controller. That controller is Ishvara. So these three entities are the broad three categories of all entities which we can observe in this world. Now, why do we need Ishvara here? That is something which we need to understand. That is explained by rishis, again, Alvas, Acharyas, very clearly. It's a very deep concept. Still, we have to understand, so I'll make it short. See, anyone, whether it's me or anyone in this room or anyone in this world, will have desires, likes and dislikes. Everyone would like to get what they want. They would like to be happy. They would like to get whatever they want. But not all the time we get what we want. Even though sometimes we feel that we deserve something, but we still don't get something. That is where the concept of punya and papa comes into existence. Because of our past deeds, not just this life, this Atma is eternal. So many lives have passed by for this Atma. So in the past and in the present, in the very past, in the near past, so on, we may have done so many deeds. And those deeds culminate into results at different points of our life. Today we may get something good. Tomorrow we may get something bad. We may get some happy news. We may get some sad news. So all of these are based on punya and papa. Most of us will agree. Anyone who is been brought up in the Sanatana Dharma will accept the concept of punya and papa. And in fact, we can confidently say that no other philosophy will explain the concept of um, individual getting different results at different times more clearly than this Sanatana Dharma based on past punya and papa. And it is a beginningless karma. Papa and punya, there is no beginning. It has been going on for eons and eons of time. And hence, this Punya and Papa give us the results which we like sometimes, which we don't like sometimes. Now, this Punya and Papa also, if you look at it, let's say we do a good deed. We go to some temple, and we in Shastram it is said that taking a dip in holy rivers, sacred rivers, it's a punya karma. It is a very good deed. So we do that. Now, when we take the dip into the river and we come out, now that action is done. Now, 2 years down the road, or even 3 days down the road, if someone comes and asks me how many times you dipped in the river, I will not be able to tell. I may have a vague idea, I may have some remembrance, but I will not have full idea. And that action, it's not knowledgeable itself. That dip, that wouldn't remember that Sarathi came and did a dip in the river. That action would not remember. I would also not remember, maybe sometime later. But this is giving results down the road, maybe 10 years later, 50 years later, maybe in the next life. So, how is that happening? There is someone who is remembering our action. That is the underlying principle. There is someone who is keeping track of all of our actions. Not like Chinese government who has CCTV everywhere and who is tracking everything. Any time anyone moves around anywhere, that is tracked. And every single movement of every individual is tracked. It's not like that. Because that is also has some, it is also having some limitations. Maybe once they go into their house and maybe go under a bunker, the government will not be able to trace it. But there is someone who is Antaryami, who is present within each entity, and that is how he is able to observe everything which is happening. Because, for example, if anything is happening in this body, let's say I'm sitting here, let's say I get a pain in my shoulder, who will know that first? I'll be the first one to know. Why? Because I'm inside this body. My presence is inside this body, so I am able to understand what is going on in this body. But my knowledge is still limited. I am able to only see what is happening from this head to toe. Even in this floor, what is happening, I will not know, even though I am connected to it. Even in this chair, something is happening. Maybe there is a crack happening here. I will not know now. Only when I fall down, I will know. Because I am limited to only this body, my knowledge is limited to only this body. But Bhagavan is Antaryami. He is present in every single entity, every single atom. Every single atom is a term which is used in general science, so I used. But every entity which we can think about, the minutest entity, even in that he is present. That is how he is able to observe everything which is happening in this world. What I am doing, what you are doing, what you are doing, everything is being tracked by him. And also, he is like a supercomputer. Supercomputer can probably do calculations, computations in microsecond, nanosecond, and so on. So Bhagavan is so omniscient. He is so knowledgeable that he is able to track every single innumerable entities, atmas as well as achit. In everything, what is happening, he is able to track everything. So that is his power, that is his ability. So this is how our acharyas take us through this logical sequence where there is a higher entity. That particular entity has to be present everywhere so that he can observe everything which is happening and track everything which is happening and give the results for every single entity. That is why we get results sometimes which we may not like. But Bhagavan knows that this person deserves this particular result at this point of time. So next moment what is to be happened, next moment what is to be done, he knows everything and he gives to each one of the entities. So this is something which is very deep again. If you go into philosophy and if you go into Vedanta, there is a lot of insight into these, but we are only touching the fundamentals. We are just going through the Sanatana Dharma fundamentals. So this is something which we have to understand: Chit, Achit, and Ishvara. And among that, Chit is Atmas, number of Atmas. Again, there are number of Atmas, innumerable Atmas, because my happiness and joy is different from your happiness and joy. So each one is experiencing different happiness and different joy. So that itself proves that the same person cannot be happy and sorrowful and remorseful and pitiful and compassionate, and so many different emotions cannot be seen in the same person. Maybe one or two, three or four emotions can be present in same person at the same time. But if you look at the variegated nature of this world, what is happening around the world, the number of things which are happening, it is impossible that one Atma is going through so much reactions and emotions at the same time. So it is obvious that multiple Atmas are there and innumerable Atmas are present, because we see even in this city there are so many humans. What to speak about animals and birds and worms, and every entity is an Atma having a different body. So this concept of Atmas is very important for us to understand that we are not this body, we are Atma. So every time when I say I, it only means Atma, strictly speaking. But because of the togetherness of the Atma and body, for the said number of years, let's say one person lives for 50 years, one person lives for 60 years, one person lives for 80 years, because their Atma and body are together, it becomes indistinguishable. We almost relate to the Atma and body together only. And even practically speaking, if someone calls me Sarathi, come here, Atma cannot go on its own, because it's inseparable from the body at this time. There is the time when it will leave the body, only at that time it will become separate. Until that time, it is inseparable. So the name Sarathi even relates to both Atma and the body. So this togetherness is there. That is why sometimes we get, not sometimes, actually most of the times we get confused for the body. We think ourselves as the body and we act ourselves for the body only most of the times. But this is something fundamental, that we should not think like the body. We should think like the Atma. That maturity in our knowledge should happen. That is the first goal of life, because the self-realization, Atma realization, is the first step in the overall scheme of our goals, our ultimate goal. Because only when we realize that we are Atma and we have this body and we have had so many different bodies and we will have so many more different bodies if we don't get liberated at the end of this body. So we have to think like the Atma, and ultimately in our Sanatana Dharma, moksha, liberation is the ultimate goal, which is accepted by all different philosophers of our Sanatana Dharma. So for that goal, Atma has to work. So this is some foundation. All of this came up because we use the word Jivatma. So this Shastram, now if we have to look at Shastram, who is that Shastram for? It is for the Jivatma, not for Bhagavan, not for Achit, because Achit doesn't have knowledge. So Shastram is for no, is of no use for the Achit. Well, if the Shastram says um, Satyam Bada, does it apply for this table? Does the table know what to Satyam Bada means? Speak truth only. So, will this table have any repercussion for that statement? No. Similarly, can Shastram order Bhagavan? No, because he is beyond Shastram. The Shastram is for this world. Now we have two worlds, Nitya Vibhuti and Leela Vibhuti. One is Sri Vaikuntham, the eternal abode of Bhagavan, and then Samsara. Everyone wants to be liberated from Samsara. So this Shastram is fully applicable in Samsara, because this is where we have people, like we have Atmas who are going through this cycle of birth and death. There is no such thing in Vaikuntham. So, this whole Shastram of regulating us guiding us. All of this is for people in samsara. So these people in samsara, they are all atmas. So atmas are the focus of atma. So whole shastram is for the welfare of the atma. The shastram is guiding the atma, taking atma through the process of step by step development. So first, Bhagavan through shastram makes an atma understand that if we do good, we'll get something good. If we do bad, we'll get something bad. So first, even to get this understanding, it is very very difficult, because most people think that I can do whatever I want. By hook or crook, I can get good things done. So that is the level of thinking of majority of people. So only selective set of people will think that if I do good, I'll get good things back. If I do bad, I'll get bad things, bad results. So even to get this level of understanding, it is Bhagavan's mercy only. Bhagavan is guiding atma towards that direction. And then from that stage, one has to think, okay, what is good and bad? Whether it is something just temporarily good or it is permanent good. So for that, what is permanence? Then comes the knowledge about Atma. So until then, just good and bad, one need not know one is Atma. One may just think, okay, I am a person, I have to do good to get something good back. But to go from that to get something permanently good, then one has to think, wait, we are not permanent here. We are changing, and someday we are going to die also. So, what is going to be permanently good for me? Then one will think, oh, maybe my life doesn't end here. That is, Atma's life doesn't end here. Maybe I'm not this body. Maybe I'm this Atma. So that realization comes. So that is the next step. So again, Bhagavan is guiding each Atma. He is being the well-wisher of everyone. He is guiding, being the Antaryami. He is guiding each Atma in this direction. He is trying to help. Some Atmas click, some Atmas don't. Because Bhagavan has given free will to every Atma. It's a limited free will. We have choice. We have the ability to choose what we want to do. It's a limited free will, because one cannot say, oh, I have free will, so I can start flying now. I have free will. Who can stop? No. You can only do what you are capable of. So we all have limitations, and that limitations is based on our karma, past deeds. And in that situation, we are going to work within that limitation. So Bhagavan has given free will to choose and to act, and to act intelligently. He is guiding us. So from the stage of doing anything to doing something good, and to think about doing something good for permanence, for eternity. That is where one comes to know about Atma. And from there, progress happens. From that step, from that level, one thinks about what is permanence, whether enjoying in heaven, that is good, or enjoying a longer life, whether that is good. And from that, people start thinking, next level is there a permanent world where we don't have to go through this birth death cycle at all? That is where one comes to the stage of seeking liberation, stopping this birth and death. So all of these are in Shastram. Bhagavan interacts with each Atma through this Shastram. This Shastram is like the rule book for every one of us. So this is the important aspect which we need to understand, that Shastram has very important role in our life. And in Shastrams, we have to see what is the primary Shastram, what is the fulcrum, and that is Vedam. So Vedam is considered as the primary Shastram. Many places, even common people, when they speak, nowadays it has reduced, but people will ask, is it said in Vedam? So when something is said, it's all over Bharatadesham. People will ask, is it a Veda Vaka? In Tamil they will ask, Veda Vaka. That means it's accepted by everyone. If it is Veda Vaka, means everyone accepts it, because it is the primary source of information, knowledge. So Vedam is the primary Shastram, and that is because Vedam has certain important qualities which are not found in many other shastrams. Now we are going to see what are the other shastrams. But we have Vedam, and then we have Itihasams, we have Puranams, and then we have Smritis. All of these also, Sri Pancharatra, Agamam. So all of these make part of Shastram. Among all of these, Vedam is the foundation, fulcrum. That is because Vedam has a unique quality which is not there in other aspects of Shastram. That is Nityatvam. Vedam is eternal. Just like Bhagavan is eternal, just like Atma is eternal. Does Bhagavan have a start date? No. Bhagavan is always existing. Does Atma have a start date? No. Similarly, Vedam also does not have a start date. It is always existing. Now, when it is always existing, how does it get transmitted? And that is where Bhagavan transmits the Vedam during every Srishti. This creation and sustenance and annihilation is a continuous process. It is not a linear one-off activity like in some religions. Bhagavan, according to them, God just creates once and he chooses some persons to be angels, some persons to be demons, and some persons to be good, some persons to be bad. It is his choice. And then somehow they have to adhere to the scriptures which they have, and they have to do good. Any religion will talk about doing good, and at the end of the day, if they finish good, then they will reach ultimate goal. They will be happily living in heaven. Others will rot in hell. That is, some religions have those kind of philosophies. But in our Sanatana Dharma, this whole universe, or it's actually multiverses, there are so many universes, they are being constantly created, sustained, and then annihilated. It's a continuous process, and Bhagavan is doing this Srifti and Sthiti and Samharam continuously. So when Bhagavan does Srifti, in that beginning, he gives Vedam to Brahma. So he takes, we saw about past deeds, karma. When he creates the world, universe, he selects a person who has great noble karma, good karma, punya karma. And then he places that person as Brahma. And he lets that Brahma do further creation with the help of many Prajapatis and so on, many Devatas and so on. So this is a continuous process. And then the universe goes on till Brahma's lifetime. Brahma lives for 100 years and his lifetime is very long. Each um, year of Brahma, 100 years, he has 100 years of life, and each year of Brahma has 360 days. And in each day, he goes through 1,000 Chaturyugas. So we see Satyuga, Krita Yuga, and then Treta Yuga, and Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. We are in Kali Yuga. So Brahma has 1,000 Chaturyugas in one day. That is how long is one day of Brahma. And then he lives 360 days, 100 years like that. And at the end of his life, again the universe will be destroyed, annihilated. So this is again, all of these are explained in Vedam in detail, in Puranas in detail. So this is a continuous process. Now, every time this universe is created, at that time when Brahma needs to start his duty of creation, he creates all the variegated entities in this world. Bhagavan does the overall creation, and then he lets Brahma and Prajapatis do further creation. For that creation to happen, Brahma should have knowledge. So at that time, Bhagavan imparts Veda from his mind. Bhagavan has all the Vedam in his mind. He reproduces the whole Vedam as it is, as it was before, previously, at the end of previous destruction. So he reproduces that and then he teaches that to Brahma. And then from Brahma, it gets taught in a parampara, in sequential Guru Shishya lineage. This is how Vedams get transmitted. Nowadays only we are keeping it in a written way. Previously, even 500 years ago, 120, 200 years ago, people were not noting, writing down Vedas. They were always retained in the mind. And that is the great wealth of Vaidikas, that is having the whole Vedas, at least their portion. If a Yajurveda person is um, doing Adhyayanam, he will complete Yajurveda first and he will remember everything in his mind. So even if if somebody has created some written palm leaves or made some notes or whatever, even those are destroyed, the knowledge is still in the mind. See, the mind is very, very capable. It is very, very powerful. It is very deep. It can hold so many things. Like people used to memorize so much before. Nowadays, we are not even remembering our own family members' phone numbers. That is how intelligent we have become. In the process of evolving and using technology, we have advanced so much that we don't even remember, 10-digit phone numbers. We have to look up immediately. If our phone dies, that's it. It's as good as we are dying because we will not be able to survive even for a few hours. Everyone will searching for chargers and data bank or phone banks, and that's how important our phones have become. It has become our memory storage basically. We have delegated that responsibility of remembering everything to the mobile phone and our laptop and so on. But people used to remember so many things in their mind. They used to keep, for example, if a person, for example, Krishna is doing Adhyayanam, he is learning so much and he'll memorize so much. He'll keep all of that in his memory only. There is no way to write all of these down and keep looking at them and so on. So this mind is so capable that people were able to retain all of these. Even if palm leaves, there were palm leaves. People used to make some notes of certain things. At least Smriti and Itihasas, Puranas, they were all documented and saved. But even if those are destroyed, there would be many scholars who would have all of those in their mind. That is how, if you see, people were traveling from east to west, north to south, back and forth in Bharatadesham. There was always connection between all the various regions and various knowledge centers. People would travel from Kanchipuram, Srirangam to Kashmir. People will go to Varanasi, and people will go to so many places, and they will have so many debates, and they will have not debates. We don't have any debates these days. Even we were discussing about our question answer sessions, which we are regularly publishing, and somebody asks questions, and they counter question. We have patience for 2 3 questions, and then after fifth question, sixth question, we say, you have to just give up, stop asking, because there are certain things we are not having the time and focus and total commitment, both sides, even the person is questioning and person is answering. We are running out of patience and not having the ability and patience to learn things. If someone has to go through traditional study of any subject, whether it is Veda Dhyanam, whether it is sculpture work, whether it is goldsmith work, whether it is whatever it is, they in the past they would study under a guru for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, and they would be pretty much like a servant for the guru. They have to have such patience. At the end of their study, they would be very advanced. they would have gathered all the knowledge the Guru has. Because the aspect of knowledge, learning through Guru with submissiveness, with total surrender, that has a lot of value. And that is a lot of, it plays a big part in the acquiring of the knowledge. And that is why I was going to say about debates. In those days, they would have debate for 1 month. Now, we are not having debate for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then we get frustrated. Why are you not accepting my view? Why don't you just give up? That is how we are after 15, 20 minutes. But those days, people would argue, debate for 1 month. And the thing is, there will be no violence, not even mental violence. No, we are not talking about physics. Now, today, we are even having physical violence. That if someone doesn't agree with one's view, depending on individuals' level of maturity and level of arrogance and so on, people will start even beating up others if they don't agree upon the views. But in those days, there was not even mental violence. Mental violence is trying to pressurize someone, trying to corner someone, trying to give difficulties in the debate, making one like uncomfortable by doing disturbances in their night sleep or food habits. So none of that will happen. People will have a very civilized way of debates and civilized way of arguments and so on. That is how matured people were. So anyway, going off the topic, but here the primary shastram is Vedam because it is Nityam, it is always there. Bhagavan is reproducing it from his mind and teaching it to Brahma, and then it gets transmitted in parampara and it gets retained. At the end of the universe, at the end of the cycle of that particular Brahma's life, the whole Vedam will go with the Brahma, because he will be the last person to go away, and the Vedam will also go. And again, but Bhagavan has everything in his mind, and he will again, in the next cycle of Srishti, he will teach that to Brahma. So this is how eternal it is. So everything in Vedam, that eternal here means that sequence, even that is maintained. So if a particular Vedam starts in this way, it will start the same way in the next cycle, in the next cycle, in the subsequent cycle. That is the main aspect of Nityatvam. This Nityatvam means always being the same, always being unchanging. So there is no scope for errors, because only if something goes through continuous changes. For example, if scientists come up with a particular theorem, they are happy with it for 10 years, 20 years, until someone else comes and proves that it is wrong. And then someone else comes and gives another view of that theorem. So this is the new way. So then they come up with that theorem and they keep that for 20 years, and everyone praises, this is the best theorem. This is the best invention by any scientist. And then 30 years down the road, someone comes, bang, he will come up with a new theorem. And then they'll start tracing this. So, we were sorry, we were misunderstood. We missed some parameters. We missed something in there. I mean, not to minimize the effort of scientists, because without the effort of scientists, we will not be sitting here and discussing with all the technology and so on. I mean, we have to use everything in good cause. We should not become addicted to technology. We should be comfortable even when none of this exists. We should have the inner peace to live on our own without anything, without the computer, not even without books, even without granthams. We should have such understanding and realization that even if we are alone on our own, just recite some pasurams, do some dhyanam, do some introspection, contemplation. Just be peaceful without getting any um, unnecessary irritations in mind and so on. So, though technology has good things, we are using technology in positive way, but that is not the end of the world. Technology is not the end of the world. So this Vedam is unchanging; it is constant. Hence, it is um, glorified as such, as the greatest shastra. Because of this Nityatvam, we can also understand that it is having the quality of apaurusheyatvam. That is, it is not authored by an individual, not even Bhagavan. That is the key. Even Bhagavan is not the author of Vedam. Because if we say Bhagavan is the author of Vedam, then we will say Bhagavan is partial. He will say what only he wants. Then that will not be neutral. So that is why this Nityatvam automatically leads to Apaurusheyatvam. Because it is eternal, it is not even authored by Bhagavan. But Bhagavan remembers everything. He knows everything because he is omniscient. He knows everything because he knows Vedam. That's why he knows Vedam also. So it is Apaurusheyatvam, and then it lacks defects because it is not made by any author. Because any author, he will have certain defects. This is what is said in Ramanujan Nutrandaji. Thiruvaranga Thamadanar says, Talvandrilla Marai. Marai is Vedam. It does not have any deficiencies, any shortcomings. The shortcomings could come because of the author. When someone authors something, he will have certain attitudes. For example, everyone will have misunderstandings. I may be a great scholar. Not that I am, but I may be a great scholar. But I may still have some misunderstandings in some points. That misunderstandings could creep into my writings. And then my intentions could be wrong. I may have some wrong intentions that I want to present my ideas rather than thinking neutrally. And then I may have bewilderment sometimes. Though I am thinking straight and correct, at some point, some external influence could come and it could bewilder me. So these are some of the possible deficiencies when it is authored by someone. But because Vedam is not authored by anyone, it has none of these deficiencies. So we'll move on. This Vedam, we need to understand Vedam because that is the foundation for our Sanatana Dharma. And then we'll move on to Sri Ramayana. We are quickly moving on to Sri Ramayana. Yes, then it'll become more interesting. It's probably a little bit dry so far, but some of these principles are foundational. So thought I would present it in a coherent way. I have tried. So if you look at Vedam, our Purvacharyas have shown that it is in two parts. That is Vedam and Vedanta. Both are Vedam only, but it's in two parts. That is Purva Bhagam and Uttara Bhagam. Karma Kandam and Jnana Kandam. So Purva Bhagam is the portions which talks about the worship of Bhagavan, what mantras we use, what prayogas we have to do. For example, when we do, let's say Sandhya Vandanam, we do Achamanam. We have to take the water like this, keep the fingers like this, and sip the water like this, and then wash the hand and wash the mouth and so on. So these are prayogam, how to do an act. So these are explained in Purva Kanda, that is Karma Kanda. And then the mantras, for each time we sip water, what is the mantra we say? All of that is present in Karma Kandam. So these are some examples, few examples. There are so many other aspects in Karma Kandam. Sandhyavandana is a very foundational, very fundamental daily activity which anyone who is wearing Yajnapavitam has to do. But beyond that, there are so many activities which Vaidikas will do at various different times. And then there is Uttarakandam, Uttarabhagam, that is Jnanakandam, which analyzes Brahman, which analyzes Bhagavan and his qualities. What is his nature? There is so much study into Brahman. There are so many Upanishads. Primarily, we have important Upanishads, 18 Upanishads, 10 Upanishads, and so on. But beyond that, there are so many Upanishads. Those are all talking about Bhagavan's nature. This whole purpose of Shastram, as we previously saw, is to step by step take the Atma from the very basic bodily concept of life to self-realization and then to ultimately reaching Bhagavan. So all of these help in this. Karma Kandam and Jnana Kandam help in this. In the Karma Kandam, there is Karma Sutra, and then Jnana Kandam, there is Brahma Sutra. These are aphorisms which give in short about the important principles in Karma Kandam and Jnana Kandam. Karma Sutram starts with Atato Karma Jignasa. Now that we have understood what is Shastram, what is Atma, now let's go and understand what is the karma which we have to do. So that is how it starts. Karma Sutram starts, and then once a person understands this karma kanda well, that this Atma is doing all of these activities for the progress of the self, then ultimately at some point one will question what is the ultimate progress of the self. Then that will be realizing Bhagavan, understanding Bhagavan. So that will be the next step. Brahma Sutra starts with Atato Brahma Jignasa. Now that we have understood what is karma, what is Atma, what is selfless engagement in these rituals and so on, you are ready for the next step, that is inquiring about Brahman. So this is how it goes from Karma Kanda to Brahma Kanda. So these are two parts of Vedanta, Vedam and Vedanta. Now these concepts of Vedam and Vedanta, they are very cryptic. Though Vedam is the ultimate source of knowledge for us, the meanings of Vedam and meanings of Vedantam are not very easy for a layman to understand. That is why it is said that Smriti and Itihasas and Puranas, they help in understanding Vedam and Vedantam. Smriti helps us understand Vedam, and then Itihasas and Puranas help us understand Vedanta. For example, Vedanta may have a particular concept of Atma going through different stages of knowledge gaining. To explain that, in the Itihasas and Puranas, there will be some incident where a particular person, for example, we can see lives of Pandavas, how they go through different situations in their lives, how they learn and evolve, how they um, become very dear to Krishna, and so many things are explained. These are all explanations for very deep philosophical concepts which are in Vedanta. So, whatever is in Vedanta, they are explained in a storyline through nice, simple incidents, historical events, and so on. That is how we understand these principles. So, Vedam is understood through Smriti. Smriti is the rule books for each day and age. We know popularly known Smriti is Manusmriti, and then there are other Smritis. These Smritis are compiled by rishis or Raja rishis. Like Manu is a Raja rishi. He is a king, but he is also a very advanced, knowledgeable king. So these great personalities, they compile what are all the rules for us to follow. So those are explained in these Smritis. So Manusmriti is there, Parashara Smriti is there, Yagyavalkya Smriti is there. So many Smritis are there. Manusmriti is greatly glorified by our Purvacharyas. Now, anyone who hates Sanatana Dharma, they mainly hate Manusmriti only. Because that is one of the very foundational scriptures for us. It is giving us the most important aspects of our lifestyle. So this Manusmriti is greatly glorified. It is actually said that whatever Manu says, it is good for Atma. He is like the best doctor. It's like if a trustworthy doctor gives any medicine, we will take without questioning. Similarly, whatever Manu says, we have to accept without questioning. That is how it is explained. So Smritis explain Vedam, and Itihasas and Puranas are explaining Vedanta. Now, coming to Itihasas, This Itihasa Purana, among these two, Itihasas carry more weight because they are at times equated to Vedam. For example, Mahabharatam is explained as Panchamo Vedam, fifth Veda, and Sri Ramayana is explained as an incarnation of Veda, just as Vishnu incarnated as Sri Rama, Vedam incarnated as Sri Ramayana. So both are considered at par with Vedam, and that is why Itihasas have great importance. Itihasas are epics. Now, they are historical events narrated while those events happened, and they were documented by great sages. Valmiki documented Sri Ramayanam, it is known as Adi Kavyam, and sage Vedavyasa, who is considered as Vishnu's incarnation, he documented Mahabharata. Both are very, very big. Even Sri Ramayana, though we get only 24,000 slokams nowadays here, it is said that in Satyaloka, this Sri Ramayana is very huge. Valmiki documents every step of Sri Rama's life. We only got 24,000 shlokas because Brahma blessed Valmiki that he will know everything which is done by Sri Rama. Whether he sneezes, whether he takes bath, whether he wipes off his sweat, whatever it is, everything which is known to, everything which is done by Rama, that will be known to Valmiki. And Valmiki will document it. So it will be a huge, imagine we have a document which narrates every step of one's life. That will be a huge document. So that is how huge it is in Satyaloka. Brahma is able to study that Ramayanam because of his capability. But for us, we've got 24,000 shlokas. One important aspect is people often use the term mythology for epics and even Puranas. It is not a correct term. It is a wrong term to use because mythology has the connotation of something which is imaginary, something which is that people just wrote down as possible stories, possible incidents which might have happened. But that is not what is epics. Epics are different from mythology. Maybe in some different um, parts of the world, there will be certain incidents which are made up just to educate people, just to bring out some good conduct in them. But in our Sampradayam, in our Sanatana Dharma, when we talk about epics, when we talk about Puranas, we have to strictly say them as epics only, not mythology. It's not a good term. In any case, this Sri Ramayana and Mahabharata are the two epics, itihasas we have. In these two also, Sri Ramayana is greatly glorified because of the fact that it brings out the main philosophical aspect of our sampradaya. That is one of the main reasons. That is Sharanagati. That is total surrender towards Bhagavan. This concept of Sharanagati is beautifully explained with many examples in Sri Ramayana. Many personalities have performed Sharanagati in Sri Ramayana, and that is why this Sri Ramayana is very often quoted in our Purvacharya's commentaries. If we take the commentaries, whether it is Tirupavai Vyakyanam, whether it is Tiruvaimodi Vyakyanam, whether it is any other Divya Prabandha Vyakyanam, the most quoted epic will be Sri Ramayana. Several activities, several principles, several philosophical aspects, they are all proven with quotes and examples from Sri Ramayana. A simple example, if we look at, for example, an incident happens in um, the life of Bhagavad Ramanuja, which connects to Sri Ramayana very nicely. Bhagavad Ramanuja is giving lectures on Sri Ramayanam once. At that time, in his Kalakshepa Goshti, in his audience, there is a great devotee named Pillai Varangavali Dasar, Danud Dasar. He is a great disciple of Bhagavad Ramanuja, totally surrendered to Bhagavad Ramanuja. And he is attending the lecture. Ramanujacharya is explaining how Vibhishana comes and surrenders to Sri Rama. At that time, what is happening? There is a big debate going on. Vibhishana abandoned his brother, family, and all of that, and he just uh, came straight to Sri Rama's camp, and he was waiting in Akasham. He did not even land on the ground. He is waiting in Akasham. He is requesting Sugriva and others to quickly go and tell Sri Rama that I have come here and I have come to take shelter of Sri Rama. Initially, all of the monkey warriors, all the Vanaras, Sugriva Maharaja, Jambavan, everyone is angry looking at Vibhishana. They want to kill him. They all start shouting, kill him, kill him. And then they realize now he looks a little bit distressed and he wants to say something, it seems. So then they start listening to him, and then he says, go and tell that I have come to surrender to Sri Rama. They still have their doubts whether he is coming with good intentions or whether he is pretending. So they go and tell Sri Rama that Vibhishana has come. He is the brother of that evil Ravana who has captured your wife and he's kept her in captive. So they are all not in favor of accepting Vibhishana. So they all force their opinion upon Sri Rama. But Sri Rama is trying to convince them. He doesn't want to just overrule them and take the decision because he's a good listener and he's a good king and he's a very noble person. No, he wants to convince all of them and then make them realize that whoever comes from anywhere, we should accept them. So he explains, he gives examples, very beautiful narration there. And finally, they all get convinced, and then they go and get Vibhishana. And at that time also, Sri Rama sends Sugriva Maharaja only to go and fetch Vibhishana. He did not go himself and he did not send Lakshmana also because he wants to make Sugriva understand that it is he who rejected Vibhishana first. Now it is his responsibility to go and welcome him. So to make sure that point is understood, he sends Sugriva. Anyway, all of this narration is done by Bhagavad Ramanuja. And this Pillai Dasar becomes very distressed. He becomes restless. And then he starts crying and he starts walking out of the Goshti. Then Ramanuja is wondering what is happening. He would not do anything like this usually. He is such a very dedicated disciple who would, listen so patiently, even if it is 3 hours lecture, 4 hours lecture. He would not even change his foot position. He would remain as it is in a still position. He would listen. Why is he starting to cry and walk away? Then he asks, "Okay, Dasa, what is happening? Why are you leaving?" And then he says, if such a noble soul, Vibhishana, who has abandoned everything and come to take shelter of Sri Rama, who is the most, again, magnanimous person, there is so much delay in accepting. What to speak about me, who is very, very lowly? I still have so much attachments in this world. He doesn't have. Still, he says, I still have so much attachments in this world. So I think there is no scope for me for liberation, for redemption. So I better leave. What is the point in just sitting here and listening without any scope for that? And then immediately Sri Ramanuja says, no, no, don't worry. Bhagavan is not like that. He will hold on to his devotees. He will certainly help. And he says, and he does that through Bhagavatas. He doesn't do it directly. He is doing it through his devotees only. So you don't worry. If I go to Paramapadam, I'll take you along certainly. I'll give you that guarantee. And then he says, if Periyanambi goes to Paramapadam, I'll go. If Periyanambi is Ramanuja's Acharya, Guru. If Alavandar goes to Paramapadam, or if he has gone to Paramapadam, Periyanambi would have gone there. So I have my guarantee. So similarly, he goes up all the way up to Nammalvar. He says, if Nammalvar had gone to Paramapadam, so why we should worry? We shouldn't worry, right? And then Dasa accepts, yes, if Nammalvar has gone to Paramadam, naturally all of us will follow, because Bhagavan will accept all of those who desire to go there will be accepted through his chain of devotees. So if Nammalvar has gone to Paramadam, we are all guaranteed to go there. And then Bhagavad Ramanda says, Nammalvar has declared in the end of Thiruvaimudi that I have attained Paramapadam. Avavarachul, Ariyayaniyarati, Avavatru, Vidupatra Kurubur Chadagovan. He has declared, I have attained liberation. So when there is clear declaration of Nammalvar that he has reached Vaikuntham, why should we worry? If as Nammalvar has gone, Nathamunigal would have followed. Nathamunigal would have taken Uyapandar, Manakal Nambi, Alavandar, Periya Nambi, and then myself is guaranteed to go there. So I'll guarantee that you will go with me. So using this Sri Ramayanam beautifully proves that point, that connection of devotees, that Bhagavata Satsangam will ultimately take us to Bhagavan. And that is established by Bhagavan himself by sending Sugriva Maharaja, because he could have accepted directly Vibhishana. Then all of this argument would have become useless. Then he need not have convinced Sugriva. He could have said, I have decided, this is my decision, you all have to follow. Then they would have also agreed, but they would not have fully been satisfied with that decision. So Bhagavan proves by convincing him and then sending him to bring Sugriva, he proves that the connection of this Bhagavata, Satsangam is so important. So that point is taken from Sri Ramayanam itself, and then Ramanujacharya is explaining that to Pillavarangavli and convinces him. So this is one example, but there are tons of examples where Sri Ramayana is the guiding force in our Sampradayam. There are so many aspects in Sri Ramayana. If you see, it brings out the concept of righteous living, how one should live one's life in spite of so many adversities. Imagine the plight of Sri Rama. He is Bhagavan himself. He is incarnated in this world, into this world, to help people here. But he had to go through so many difficulties just for the sake of us, no one else, for all of us. He takes up the position of a human being and he proves that one has to sail through difficulties without getting demotivated. At any situation, whatever difficult situation one may go through, one has to stay strong, one has to hold on to the principles, one has to deliver what is important for each individual. So, if you look at the difficulties he had gone through, we have to see if any one of us, whether our husband or wife, have been captured by a demon and held in held captive for 10 months. No one has gone through such difficulties. No one had to be going through tough times, rough times in forest, living in forest for 14 years like that. Do we have to? Did we have to go through any such suffering? But in spite of Bhagavan being the supreme Lord, he takes up such sufferings to show to us that even if Bhagavan is in this world, this is shown in commentaries. That is the nature of this world. Bhagavan says, as Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says, this samsaram is ashashvatam and dukhalayam. This is impermanent and a place of sorrow. Actually, if we are happy, we should be wondering how this is happening, how we are happy. Because Bhagavan has himself declared that this place is dukhalayam. This is a place of sorrow. But we think we are happy. In a lot of cases, we think we are happy, but we are not really happy. We get happiness out of small, small things, which now it gives happiness to us. But down the road, 10 years down the road, if you think about a particular activity which gave us happiness, you will think that, oh, did I do that? Did I feel happy for that? No. Maybe, eating an ice cream in a small shop might have given happiness when we were 10 years old, 15 years old. But then when we grow up 30 years old, 40 years old, we may think, what is that? It's not happy. It is not really happiness. It's just a childish thing which we did. So things change. Our perspective changes as we age, and as our situations change, we change. So this happiness, what we see is anything in material platform, anything in bodily platform, whatever we think as happiness may not really be happiness for us at some point later. The point I was trying to make is, even if Bhagavan comes to this world, even he goes through sorrow, he goes through difficulties. That is the nature of this world. So we have to prepare ourselves based on the instructions, based on the guidelines which are given by all the great sages, alvars, acharyas, how to organize our life so that we don't get disturbed by all of these trivial things. All of these are actually trivial. Some things, for example, as a child, if someone if another child grabs our toy and runs away from us, we'll be crying for the whole day. But how trivial it is. Even 2 years down the road, we will think, it is the most trivial thing. Why did we cry for a whole night for a toy? That toy is nothing. But at that time, it was everything for us. So that maturity, that mental maturity, is given to us by our Purvacharyas. We learn how to understand things which are materialistic and how they are different from what is important for Atma. So that is what we get from all of these epics, our Purvacharyas works, Alvars Pasurams. When we go through all of those, we understand these principles very clearly. So if you look at Sri Ramayanam, many important aspects are there. I just summarize some of these here. Dasharatha Chakravarti ruling the country for 60,000 years. He ruled the Ayodhya for having Ayodhya as the capital city. He ruled 60,000 years. And actually, he himself feels bad when he is nominating Sri Rama to be the prince. At that time, all the citizens are very happy. They are saying, "Oh, great decision by King Dasharatha, Emperor Dasharatha." And then actually, he only wants to nominate Sri Rama for the next next one in the line for the throne. But then he becomes a little upset. No, I have ruled this country for 60,000 years. I have ensured that none of you have suffered. I have gone through so much suffering, gone through and battled so many important battles have been won by me, protected all of you from even getting a small harm. Now you are feeling so happy that I am leaving. Why is that? So he is asking. At that time, they say, "Look at what you are giving to us. You are giving Rama to us. So he is better than you." So that is how the citizens reacted. But the point here is, he ruled the country for 60,000 years without any sufferings for any of the citizens. And then Sri Rama and brothers, Bharata, Lakshmana, and Shatrughna, they are born and they obediently undergo Gurukulam. When in Ramavataram, Bhagavan does not show his identity often. Very, very rarely, his identity of being the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan, is revealed. Few times, very few times, Vishwamitra says, when he comes to get Sri Rama and Lakshmana to support him, to help him in the yajna, at that time he says, "I know who is Rama." So that is the first time his greatness is revealed. Vasishta knows, of course, because he is the Kula Guru, he is a very realized sage, he knows. And then after the battle is over with Ravana, at that time all the devatas come. Until that time they were all quiet. They were keeping their tails behind and not showing themselves. But when the enemy is eliminated, they all show up their face very bravely. They come and they say, "Hail, you Narayana." Sita Pirati is Lakshmi herself. Though at that time only they come and praise. So apart from that, there are very few places where his reality identity is revealed. So, in spite of him being Supreme Lord, he goes through obediently Gurukulam. He would stay under Vasishta's um, guidance. He would sleep on the floor only. He would, just like any other Gurukulam children, he would live his life. And then he helps Vishwamitra, and then he eliminates Ahalya's Shapa, the curse she had. And then Sitarama Kalyanam happens, very auspicious occasion, very happy occasion to everyone. And then they live together for 12 years in Ayodhya very happily, both Sri Rama and Sita Pirati. And then comes the big um, bad news that Kaikeyi wants Sri Rama to go to the forest. So he goes to the forest in exile along with Sita Pirati who accompanies him. And Lakshmana, Ilaya Perumal also takes up the vow that he will not sleep even for a moment and he will keep serving Sri Rama and Sita Pirati throughout the time in exile. And then at that time, we can observe, see, Lakshmana's total dedication to his elder brother and his total servitude. And then Guha's dedication, Guha's love, his devotion, that is observed in Sri Ramayana. Being from a hunter clan, he had no good qualities, but somehow, by the grace of Sri Rama, he had great attachment for Sri Rama. He heard about Sri Rama, and when he came, he was so melted looking at Sri Rama, and he totally gave himself to Sri Rama. And then there is Bharata's dedication. He followed Sri Rama up to Sri Rama's time in forest, and he requested Sri Rama to return, but Rama's desire was different. He wanted to ensure that he goes and kills Ravana. He spends some time in the forest with Sita Pirati peacefully. They would say humorously, Dasharatha had so many wives, and Sita Pirati to live with so many mother-in-laws, it will be very difficult. So Rama decided, no, let's have some private time in seclusion. So they decided to go to forest. They would say humorously, funny. But that is not the real intention. The real intention is for Sita Pirati to be held in captive by Ravana. She wants to go to Lanka herself. It is not that, in fact, our Purvacharyas have used very strong words. Only fools will think that Ravana can carry Sita Pirati to Lanka. It is Sita Pirati who carried Ravana to Lanka. She wanted to go to Lanka just like a mother will jump into a well when a child falls into the well. She will jump into the well or a lake or river and fetch the son. She will not wait for someone. Oh, soldiers or servants, please come. My son has fallen into the well. Come and rescue him. She will not say. Whether she knows swimming or not, she will just jump, and out of that energy she gets, she will somehow even save the child. Similarly, Sita Pirati herself wanted to go to Lanka where all the Devastris, the ladies from the Devalokam who were all held captive by Ravana. Because Ravana had gone to up to Swargam and he threatened everyone, and he got all the women from there and held everyone in his place. So Sita Pirati was so compassionate that she wanted to go there personally and bring them all back. So that is the Tatparya, that is the true reason why Sita Pirati went there. Because if Perumal wanted to kill Ravana, he could have just gone on a battle. No one would have questioned him. But he wanted to make this as an incident where Sita Pirati's greatness is understood by everyone. How compassionate Sita Pirati is. She goes to Lanka. These three separations of Sita Pirati, they are explained so beautifully in our Sampradayam. First time she separates from Sri Rama, she goes to Lanka, showing her compassion towards Devastris, the ladies of all the Devatas clan. And then the second time, she goes to Valmiki Rishi's ashramam. Perumal listens to the discussion which has happened in the town by a few people, and he says, someone has told about you that you have stayed in Ravana's place for so long, so better you stay away from me. And he sends her to Valmiki's ashramam. But there is a story behind that also. Sita Pirati, when she comes back to Rama, at that time she says, I really want to go and serve the rishis, the sages in the forest. I have this desire, deep desire. So to make that happen, if but she also has great liking for Rama. She doesn't want to separate from Rama. Even when Perumal was going to forest at that time, Sita Pirati enforced herself upon Rama because Rama wanted to just go on his own. He says to Sita Pirati, no, it will be very difficult if you go to forest. You will see many lions and tigers. You will not get food, good food like that. What you get here, your life will not be comfortable there. But Sita Pirati says, no, my life will be comfortable where you are. It will be uncomfortable where you are not present. And so she forces upon herself with Perumal. So if Perumal again says, you go to sages, you wanted that, you told me once that you wanted to go and serve sages. At the time, Pirati will say, no, that desire is there in me. But I don't want to go separate from you. But Perumal cannot go, obviously, because he has official duties. Now he has become the king. He has taken the throne. He cannot just go to um, the forest and serve the sages there for a long time. So he takes this as an opportunity and he sends Sita Pirati to the sages ashram. So there she shows her paratantriyam, her total subservience to Sri Rama. Whenever whatever Sri Rama says, she obeys. Whatever he likes, she obeys. So here he likes her to go to the ashramam of sages. So she follows that. But there is her desire also. Yes, Bhagavan's Sri Rama's desire is based on what she revealed herself, that she wanted to go and serve. So there is Anyonya Bhavam. They have deep connection. Their togetherness is so deep. It is not something which happened today. Not when Sita and Rama married. It is an eternal connection they have as Narayana and Lakshmi. So Bhagavan knows her heart. So he takes this as an opportunity to censor. So there is also this incident. People will try to project it as a bad mark on Sri Rama, but this is also mutually understood event only. Both of them know what they are doing. Both Perumal and Pirati know what they are doing, and then finally she comes back to Sri Rama. At that time, she wants to show that she only exists for Sri Rama, for nothing else, for no one else. For that, she proves that by going into the earth. Mother Earth comes and takes, and she goes to Paramapadam because there they are going to be together only anyway. It is a separation temporarily here. So the third separation is to prove that she exists for Bhagavan only, and that can only be easily proven in Paramapadam because here today this separation happens, tomorrow some other separation will happen because they are in this world only. So something may lead to another separation. So to avoid all of that, to prove that she is existing only for Bhagavan, that Ananyarha Sheshatvam or Ananyarhatvam, she goes back to Paramapadam, where they are always together. So these three separations also have significant meanings, deep philosophical points, and these separations are mutually understood by both of them. It is not that Rama just sends Sita Pirati to forest, she abandons her, or nothing like that. So there is again deep philosophical principle. Those who don't understand this, they will say whatever they want. So these three aspects are there, and then we see how Sri Rama became friends with Sugriva Maharaja, how he accepts Shabari's love, how he helps the rishis, sages in the forest. So many different aspects are happening. Jatayu's sacrifice. Jatayu is sacrificing himself when Sita Pirati is taken away by Ravana. And then Wali's valor. Wali is such a valorous person, but it's just that he abused his position. He was punished by Bhagavan. And Sugriva's friendship with Sri Rama, how they became such thick friends. And he actually, even though he is Supreme Lord himself, he considers Sugriva as his best friend, and he actually says that you are the one who is going to help me, who are going to help me. So it is said in one slokam that Bhagavan is the Natha, Supreme Lord for everyone. He says, Sugriva, you are my Natha, you are my Lord. That is how he shows his love towards Sugriva. And then Hanuman's servitude, how Hanuman shows his love towards Sri Rama. As soon as he saw Sri Rama, he became so realized, he became so joyful in his heart. He was waiting for that moment because Brahma has given a boon that he will realize himself and he will get the real joy when he sees Supreme Lord Bhagavan. As soon as Sri Rama was seen by Hanuman, he gets that feeling that I have seen my Lord, my Rama. And then monkey armies dedicated service. They all serve Bhagavan without any expectation just because they are bound to serve him. Vibhishana's service, surrender. Vibhishana abandons everything and comes and surrenders to Sri Rama. And finally, Sri Rama's victory. He becomes victorious. He vanquishes Ravana. He vows actually that he will not just kill Ravana, he will torment him to the extent that he cannot bear his life in this world. All his army will be destroyed, all his family will be destroyed, all his wealth will be destroyed, everything will be destroyed. One should know serious realization should happen in a person seeing at Ravana's life. If one lives a adharmic life, this is what will happen to a person. That should be understood. So Rama destroys him completely, that he becomes helpless. But one good thing in Ravana is even at that stage, he says, I will not fall at the feet of Rama. So that is his quality. And finally, when he is killed, Sri Rama shows compassion that he advises, even while Vali was killed, Sugriva was not very remorseful. Initially, he was not remorseful, and then he realizes, oh, my brother is gone. At that time, Rama advises Sugriva to be very compassionate towards Vali and do all the final rites properly. Similarly, here also he advises Vibhishana that you do all the final rites for Ravana properly because all his sons are gone. It is only Vibhishana who is left. And he says, if you don't do, I'll do it for him. That is how compassionate Rama is. And finally, he comes and takes the throne. He becomes Pattabhirama. Pattabhisheka is done for Sri Rama. An happy ending. Of course, everyone enjoys Rama Rajya for a long time by Rama. So this is the whole important aspects of Sri Ramayanam. We've just covered the introduction. Now we go to the dharma aspect. That is where we started. We've seen so many important points, important principles, important aspects of dharma in this whole introduction section itself. Hopefully we all would have realized what are all the various aspects. It's only an abstract level. I'm not gone into things like we have to wake up 4:30 in the morning. We have to take bath immediately. Do our rituals, wear our pundram, be in traditional clothes. All of those have to come at some point, but those are already discussed in many of our previous lectures, in our YouTube videos. We can see all of those basic daily routines and so on. But here conceptually, the concept of dharma, how we should be righteous, how our mind should be oriented towards dharma. Once the mind orients towards the dharma, body will automatically change. See, bodily changes, it will take only a few days. For example, if a person goes to office, many times we hear that in our Sanatana Dharma, people are not following the tradition, the culture, and so on. Many people of other philosophy, other mathams, they are appearing to be following their principles in a stricter way. They physically manifest their religion and their rules and regulations. They try to follow wherever they are in, whichever situations they are in. But it's somewhat lacking in our sampradaya, in our Sanatana Dharma. It's probably because this education from the young age is lacking in our Dharma. There's a lot of families who are totally disconnected from their roots, their dividends. Many people will be following, belonging to a particular kshetram, divya kshetram, dividesham, or some, they will have some religious identity relating to a particular town or village or whatever. And there will be elders who are present and who will be guiding and so on. But that kind of culture is diminishing. And because of that, because the elders themselves are not following the traditional values, the systems, the principles, it is difficult for the younger persons to understand anything and observe anything and follow anything. If the parents are watching IPL, the children will watch IPL plus ISL or something more. That's what will happen eventually. If the parents are going to movies once a month, children will go twice a month, thrice a month, because they see and they do what they observe in their parents, what kind of culture, what kind of behavioral things, what kind of conduct, what kind of emotions. All of these are observed by children. They are taking in all of that, and this is only 20-30% of their time. Another 60-70% of their time they are observing the whole materialistic society. People are running behind money, power, and fame. And initially I spoke about role models. Most people have role models today, like movie stars, cricket personalities, or sports personalities. They are their role models. What kind of um, discipline they have, what kind of social outlook, what kind of mental maturity they have, none of those are being observed. They only observe the flashy things. They observe how they come out and present themselves, and how some 100 people are um, shouting or screaming at them, and then another 100 people start screaming at them. And this is what is happening in the world. It's like herd mentality. Just because 20 people are doing, then another two people in the, if there are 22 people in the class, if 20 people are going in one direction, other two people will follow that same direction. So this is what is happening in the society. But we have to have role models from all the rishis, the sages, and the acharyas, aldvars, and so on. But one may wonder, why we should just see historical personalities as role models? Why not someone from present? And we do have role models in the present as well. There are many people who are following dharma to the extent they can, and for that we have to break our comfort zone and try to go into dividends, villages, and see what is happening in those places. In many places, we see that people are living with very basic comforts. Just a house will be there, not even furnitures, not great facilities, but they are happy with what they are having, and they are content with what they are having, and they go about their life just as we would go about in cities. They would still wake up, they would go take bath, they would have some prayers, they would do some service in temples or so on. We may not be doing exactly those things, but we will have our own routine. But they are also living their life happily with minimum things. We are also thinking that we are living our life happily with so many things. So if we break our comfort zone and move into different societies, traditional, cultural background, societies which are having traditional culture and background and values, then we will get better understanding of life rather than just seeing what's happening in cities. And the city life is somewhat damaging to the whole system, our intellectual abilities, our emotional quotient, intellectual quotient, and so on. It is damaging because there is so much pressure. Even to go to a particular place, we have to plan like 2 hours ahead of time, and then we have to start, and we may get stuck in traffic, and then we'll be cursing so many other things, so many other environmental things. But really, there is nothing to curse there because we know this is how it is. The environment is well known to us, it is very, very clear to us. There is no gray area in this. This is very black and white. We know how the cities work. So we have to take break from the city life and go into villages, traditional places where such rush is not there. We slow down a little bit and take break and indulge into scriptures, Purvacharya's works. See what they have to say. When we go through these epics like Ramayanam or Mahabharatam or Purvacharya's works, Alvar's Divya Prabandhams, there are so many wonderful passages. If we go through Divya Prabandhams, there are pasurams where it is beyond our imagination. Alvars take up feminine mood and they sing towards Bhagavan as if he is their lover. We cannot even imagine that kind of things in our normal way of fast-paced life. Someone has to think, sit down, and consider Bhagavan as one's lover, one's husband, who is in separation, far away place, you know, and call up to him. Why have you left me behind like this? What did I do? What mistake I do to deserve this? And so on. And remember things like the time we had together in that garden when the southerly breeze came and touched us, when the fragrance of the flowers were beautiful. So these poetic moments, they are all present in Alvar's Pasarams. The way they relate to Bhagavan in different roles, they see Bhagavan as the supreme, the all capable, omniscient, all omnipotent, one who can do, one who can lift Govardhana hill in one hand and uh, um, keep it in there for 1 week, protecting all the gopas and gopikas and the cows and the cattle without even getting a small drop of water from the rain, big hailstorm. So these moments are also imagined by Alvars. They also go through these emotions like a lover. They go through emotion like a child, helpless child. They go through emotions like a um, servant depending on the master. So different emotions are there. And all of these present what our life should be, what ideally we should be going through. As an Atma, this is what we are meant to do. We are meant to enjoying Bhagavan, we are meant to enjoying his qualities, his greatness, because he is our creator. We enjoy our creator. Even if a person like Bill Gates or someone who has given computer or whatever, he is glorified, he is praised So many people are lining up to visit him when he comes to India. If that is the case for someone who just gave computer, what about the person who gave the world for us, who gave everything for us, who gave the body, who gave the senses, who gave the environment, who gave the river, who gave the trees, who gave the all the beautiful things which are present in this world, which we cannot create. Can we create a tree? We cannot create a tree. Nobody can create a tree. If someone gives a seed, then we can plant that seed and we can probably water that seed for some time, and that will give a tree at some point. But we are not creating the tree. We are just helping in the process of um, transforming the seed into a tree. We are just doing a small thing. It is like someone says, I can also hold go over than a hill. Only if someone keeps and places it on my hand. If somebody can take it and place it on my hand, I can hold it for 7 days like Krishna did. So similarly, we cannot create anything. We can only help in the transformation little bit here and there. So much is there for us to enjoy in this life itself. Even if we look at materialistic things, like we have gone ultra material now, even from materialistic enjoyment, because they previously just enjoying the river, just enjoying the mountain, just enjoying the breeze, those were considered material, and enjoying Bhagavan was considered spiritual. Now we have come down to the level of saying that enjoy the trees at least, that is material, that is spiritual. That is also material only, but that is how degraded the society has become. Our view of the world has changed so much that even to get little bit of enjoyment, we have to make so much explanation and to induce so much. So that is the current situation. But looking as we are, I think, getting um, close to the time. What is the time now? Almost 8 o'clock. Started around 6:15 or so. We still have question and answer session also if people are interested. Anyway, we'll go through this session, this particular section of how to be a good father, mother, and so many different roles which we take up, because these are all part of our dharma. That is what I started saying. So dharma, at one level, the rules and regulations which are enforced upon, which are given to us in Shastram, for our own betterment, our own welfare. But even before that, even going before going into that, we have to understand different roles and see how we can fill in that roles as best as we can. And for that, we have good examples whom we can look up to, see how different roles were fulfilled by different personalities in Sri Ramayanam, as the example which we have taken, the narrative which we have taken. And based on that, we can see how we can implement such things in our life, how to improve our life. And again, all of this 2 hours of presentation, it applies more to me than all of you, because it's universal. It is not something to explain to others only. It is something which we all have to introspect and see how we can improve individually at various stages. Yeah, I'm going to talk about how to be a good husband. I'm sure my wife will disagree if she is here. If she is not here, that's a good thing as of now, because she will raise a point. I have a question, and then she will ask, "No, why don't you try to be like that? What you are saying?" So anyway, we'll start with father. We see that Dasharatha, he is a good father, even though he had his shortcomings. One thing which we have to understand is, in this world, nobody can be perfect. We all can strive to be perfect, but it is not possible to be perfect, because more than our own deficiencies, there are environmental deficiencies which will pull us down at various times. Even though we like to be good, we like to be noble, we like to be genuine, there are times the environment will influence us. We have to withstand that pressure, but sometimes we will fail. It is not the end of the world. We still have to strive to come up in our level, in the standard which are set by our Purvacharyas. That is, we have to look at the standards which our Purvacharyas have set to us, and we have to keep looking at those standards and see if we can try to be at least somewhat matching those standards. So, looking at father Dasharatha, he nurtured all the four brothers in a very nice way, in a very traditional way. Probably it was possible for him because everything was, we will say, that was, you're talking about Treta Yuga. It was a good time, so he was able to follow. But still, we have to see role models and see, irrespective of the time, we have to try to apply that, because all of these aspects which we are discussing here, there are few who are following. If not everything, there will be one person who will be a very good father, good role model. In our own circle, there will be a person who is a good husband. So there are people who are able to follow certain things, even according to our shastram, according to our dharma. So even when one person is able to follow dharma, a particular aspect which is explained in shastram, then that is possible. So we have to try. So Dasharatha nurtured according to his situation in the best manner. He sent the children to Gurukulam at the right age. So all of these count. So as a parent, for example, we have to provide opportunities right from the young age. We cannot let the child go in his own way up to 16, 17, 18, 20 years and then try to push back, because suddenly we've got some realization. We started listening to lectures, we started going to temple regularly, we started following the scriptures and all the rules and regulations at 50 years old. When we become 50 years old, now that we have realized, we look around and see now who can be reformed. We have become reformed, so reformed that we start reforming others now. So immediately our family members will only be our target. They say, why don't you start following? I am following, I am doing this, I am doing that. So why don't you start following? So, but it may be a little bit late. So we have to give them time. We have to give them as much time we took to reform, as much reform we have got, we have to give them the same time. So best thing is, from the childhood we direct them to the best policies, best discipline, best conduct, and for that we have to be in all of those in the best level. We have to present, at least present ourselves, even if we have some anger, we don't let it out in front of children, because they will catch that. So in this case, Dasharatha was very good in all of those, guiding the children in the right way, in the right age. He helped all of them develop obedience, discipline, humility. Like, even though they were all children of great Chakravarti, Dasharatha was Chakravarti. He was the ruler of the whole region. That everyone was under him. All the many kings were under him. Still, the children, all the four children of Dasharatha were very humble. When Vishwamitra came, they offered their obeisances, they followed all the etiquette properly. When great sages would come to the assembly, they would honor them, respect them. So all of those were taught obviously by, the foundation was laid by Dasharatha, and of course Kausalya, mothers Kaikeyi, Sumitra, all of them. And finally, when Rama got separated, he could not even bear that and he died soon after. So that was an ideal father. He was very attached to his righteous son, that he could not bear the separation also. Irrespective of his shortcomings, otherwise, he gave the boon to Kaikeyi, he could have refused, but we can leave aside those things. As a father, he fulfilled his conduct properly. Mother, if you look at how to be a good mother, we can look up to Kausalya. Of course, she helped along Dasharatha in nurturing Rama and other children. And also, when Sri Rama would go to forest, initially she stops him from going. No, no, I cannot live without you, she says. But sooner or later she realizes that her dharmam is to let Rama go on his own way. It is her duty to be with her husband and take care of the responsibilities in the palace, in the home, and take care of those things. So she realizes, actually, Rama instructs Kausalya. He says that these are all your responsibilities, you cannot leave your responsibilities, because she says, I will also come with you. That is also not allowed. You have to stay with your husband only, so you have to stay with Dasharatha and help him. So she listens, so she fulfills her responsibility as a mother. More than Kausalya, Sumitra has fulfilled the role of a very good mother. She gave two gems for us. One is Lakshmana, another is Shatrugna. So Lakshmana was totally dedicated to Rama's service. Shatrugna was totally dedicated to Bharata's service. As a mother, when she hears that Lakshmana was also going to accompany Rama in that exile, she feels very happy. Actually, she says, now my life purpose is attained, and your life's purpose is attained. I have, I have given birth to you to serve Rama only. So, going along with Rama is the purpose of your life. Never mind, I am going to be, left behind alone. I don't care about it. My life's purpose is having you raised as a sincere servitor for Rama, and you are going to fulfill that. So I'll feel very happy. So she lets him go happily, and when Bharata is accompanied by Shatrugna, she is again happy. And in this manner, she fulfilled the role of being a very good mother, understanding Shastram. She understood the highest purpose of Shastram. The Shastram always guides us towards Bhagavan. So when her children goes towards Bhagavan, and of course Shastram guides us towards Bhagavatas. When Shatrugna Alvan goes towards best Bhagavata, Bharata Alvan, she feels very happy and she is fulfilled the purpose of both um, Lakshmana and Shatrugna. So for mother, we have to look up to Sumitra more than even Kausalya. How to be following Shastram, how to be following Dharma adequately. We can look up to Sumitra and give a personal pleasures. Anyone would like her child, any mother would like her child to be with her only, but she offered without any hesitation both her children to Bhagavan and Bhagavan's devotee. So that is mother. We have brother. Obviously, Sri Rama is the ideal example of how a brother should be. He guides every one of his brothers, whether it is Lakshmana, Bharata, or Shatrugna, or Guha, or Vibhishanalvan, or Sugriva. Everyone, he considers all of those as his brothers. Dasharatha sent Rama to expand the family, it is said, so that he gets Guha as his brother, he gets Sugriva as his brother, he gets Vibhishana as his brother. He is not happy with just three brothers, because he has 60,000 mothers, but for so many mothers, only four children. So he wants to expand his family. So all of those are expanded, extended family. So he is being an ideal elder brother in this manner. And then also, if you look at how those brothers responded to Rama, they were also ideal in their ways. At each stage, Lakshmana would serve Sri Rama. At each stage, Bharata would honor Rama's words, whatever they are. Similarly, Shatrugna, he would always fulfill his commitments. Guha Perumal, Vibhishan Alvan, Sugriva Maharaja, each one of them would treat Rama's words as the ultimate words and follow. So both elder brother and younger brother, we have sufficient role models in Sri Ramayanam itself. Sister, it's difficult to find a sister in Sri Ramayanam. who can be a good role model, but it's difficult. It's easy to find a bad role model sister. Surpanaka is there. He brought the whole clan, Rakshasa clan, down. She is the one who is the main cause. Because of her desire only, she got her nose and ears severed, and then she goes running to Karadushana, and then she goes running to Ravana, and then finally the whole Rakshasa clan collapses. So, who is it's actually probably a good model, good role model. If you want to collapse Rakshasa clan, follow the model of Surpanaka, how to collapse the Rakshasa clan, evil clan. But it's a role model which we don't want to follow ourselves. We don't want to follow. See, Surpanaka actually, Surpanaka's desire was fine. She wanted Bhagavan, but she wanted Bhagavan exclusively for her without Sita Pirati. That is the mistake she did. Had she approached Bhagavan, Sri Rama, through Sita Pirati, if not in this life, at least in next life, she could have got the opportunity to become even Bhagavan's wife. Just like, many rishis saw Rama and they were very amazed by Rama's personality. They all desired, it would be nice if we have such a Maryada Purushottama as a husband. Then it said that next birthday became as gopis and so on. So in next life, at least Suparnaka would have become Rama's wife. But she wanted Rama and she did not want Sita Pirati to be there. She wanted to kill her. That is when he becomes angry and got Lakshmana to sever her nose and ears. So that is bad example of how a woman should not or a sister should not be. Husband and wife relationship. Again, we have plenty of role models in Sri Ramayanam. Obvious role model is Sita Pirati and Rama. Ideal couple, divine Divya Dampati. So they both know each other so much that even in separation they speak the same words. Both Rama is saying that Sita is inseparable from me. Sita is saying that Rama is inseparable from me. So though they are separate by distance, their hearts are together. And every time anything which Sri Rama is desiring, Sita fulfills that. Anytime Sita desires something, Sri Rama would fulfill that. We saw that example. Even their separation, that is also a commonly understood concept. Both of them had acceptance that they would separate for the good cause of others. They separate for um, helping all the Devasris and all the people of this world. So even in that separation, their mind is together. They are in unison. They are synchronized, well synchronized. Um, we have to also see Lakshmana's wife. She also upheld dharma very properly. Soon after Rama and Sita Pirati, they were going to leave to forest. Lakshmana also decides to follow them. At that time, when Urmila hears about that, she agrees. She doesn't stop her husband. She says, no. They say, no. Why do you have to go? It is their headache. They have to go to forest. What do you have to? Why do you have to go through that suffering? You have nothing to um, lose here. You don't have to go. She didn't say something like that. She said, if that is your wish, if that is your dharma, you follow your dharma. I will wait for you. So she waits. So she fulfills her role as a good wife. Even Mandodari and Tara, even they have manifested very good qualities of obeying and advising their husbands, Ravana as well as Vali. At times when they are going wrong, they try to reform, correct them, but they are not listening. So they ended up getting killed. But even those personalities are at times shown as very good examples. Then there is concept of friendship. We see many nice friendships. Dasharatha and Jatayu, they are very close friends. That is revealed by subsequently by Rama himself. When Jatayu was giving up his body, at that time Sri Rama feels very bad, and at that time he says that I could not be with my father when he was dying. At least I am with my elder father, like uncle, elder father. That is how he considers Jatayu as his father's brother, elder brother. So they had such close relationship, Jatayu and um, Dasharatha. Then Sri Rama and Sugriva, they had such wonderful friendship. Even Sita Pirati is asking Hanuman, how did this friendship between monkeys and humans happen? So she was amazed when she is seeing Hanuman. When Hanuman starts narrating all the incidents happened, she is amazed. How did this happen? This Vanaras and Naras, how did they unite like this? This is very amazing for me. So she says, such is their friendship. They lived for each other. When Ravana was ready to attack Rama, and when Rama was in the battlefield, they were all looking at each other. That Ravana is looking at Rama's army, and Rama is looking at Ravana's army. At that time, Ravana is in his palace. He is standing in a very high, elevated position. Rama is standing on the ground. Looking at that, Sugriva got very disturbed. Oh, this is such an insult for such a great warrior. How can Ravana do this? So he immediately crosses over to the other side. He knocks out the crown of Ravana, and then he comes back quickly, and then stands behind in the army. He hides behind the army. He doesn't want to be seen as a great champion or anything like that. He wants to be very humble. At that time, Rama says, "You know what? What did you do? Why did you go there? If he had done something to you, there is no point for me to even get back Sita Pirati." That is how he had that attachment he had towards Sugriva. He says, what is the benefit of getting Sita Pirati if something had happened to you? And something had happened to you, he did not even think physically. Even a verbal assault. Even if Ravana had said, "Oh, monkey, why did you do it?" That would even be a great insult because he is the king of the monkey clan. Calling him as a monkey would be a great insult because he is the monkey king. He should be called as monkey king. So monkey calling him just monkey would be an insult. Rama says, I cannot even tolerate that. If you were insulted in that manner also, there is no point in me getting back Sita Pirati. That is the words of Rama himself. So that is how close they were in their friendship. And then Rama and Guha Perumal, and Rama and Vibhishana. Similarly, he had developed such friendship, such attachment towards all of those personalities. So those are some examples for good friendship, role models for friendship. And then kings. For a good king, again Dasharatha ensured smooth transition of kingdom, handing over the kingdom. He ensured that everything is happening. Finally, his will did not get fulfilled, but still his intention was very good. Then Janaka Maharaja, he was praised as a great king. He is considered as a very ideal king. He actually, Janaka Maharaja is praised even by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. He says, those who are like Janaka attained liberation by Karma Yoga, performing Karma Yoga itself. So that was Janaka's greatness. He was such a good Karma Yogi that he would do everything with no attachment, zero attachment. It is actually said that when he was going through his education under Rishi, that Rishi had special attachment towards Janaka. Not because he is coming from, he is also a Chakravarti, a great Maharaja. Not because of that lineage, but because of his good qualities. He was an embodiment of dharma. But the other disciples did not understand this principle. They were all envious. Why always this guru is favoring Janaka? Whenever Janaka comes to class, he will start. Other times, he will wait for Janaka and so on. The disciples were very disturbed, and the guru could understand. He would actually one day um, steal all the disciples' cloths, like their dhoti, their kaupinam, all of that. He will steal, take away them. They will hide them. When they finish the class and they go to um, their ashram to rest, at that time they don't see their clothes. Then they become so distressed. Oh, my clothes are gone. My oh, whatever they have, their palm leaves writing, note taking down notes. They are all gone. What am I going to do? They start crying and they start making a big issue about it. Then the guru comes. Okay, now you keep this in your mind, and he gives back everything, and they are now satisfied. The next day, he makes a visual effect of Mithila being burning. This Janaka is the prince of Mithila. So at that time, he says, Mithila is burning. See, Janaka, Mithila is burning. At that time, so what does that have to do with me? Mithila is different, I am different. I am not Mithila. It is totally different. So he was so detached that even his whole kingdom, he didn't feel that it was his kingdom. He was just a caretaker. He was just a warden like position. So that is how he had zero attachment. And when he gave Sita Pirati in marriage to Rama, at that time he says, um, Me Sutta. So he says, This is my daughter. So that time our acharyas explained, this is the possessiveness of Janaka. He didn't have any other possession. He did not feel possessive for anything, but he was possessive about Sita Pirati, that it was his daughter. That is the only possession he had. That was the only thing which he associated at that was his daughter. So such was his great level of maturity. So he was also a great king, and obviously Sri Rama. Everyone liked Ramarajya. His rule was greatly celebrated, and Ramo Ramo Ramaiti Prajananne. It is a famous shlokam where during Rama's rule they would see everywhere Rama only. It is said like Ramadvaitam. That is, just like Advaitis will say everything is Brahman, for the citizens of Ayodhya, everything is Rama. There is nothing, they will not see anything else. For example, it is actually given in commentary that the Ramarajya means peaceful coexistence, and no one will see bad about anything or anyone. Or even if they want to harm someone, they may get that thought, oh, I don't like this person, I am going to harm that person. But immediately they'll think, oh, what will Rama think about this? That is the second thought they will get. Anytime they want to harm someone, they will think, what will Rama think about it? Then they will say, no, no, Rama would not like harming anyone. So they will give up that thought. That is how Ramarajya was. That is what Ramarajya means. Ramarajya means not just wealthy and comfortable living. Ramarajya means seeing everything as Bhagavan Shariram. Bhagavan is the Shariri, Atma, and everything is his possession. So if everything is his possession, then obviously no one will harm anyone. Like, will I harm my own other hand? I know that this is my own hand. That is, Atma is having this hand and this hand. Why will this hand harm this other hand, or harm the eye, or harm the head? So that understanding is very important. That was present in Ramarajya. So Rama was obviously a great king to look upon. Minister, we have so many good ministers in Rama's Rajyam. For example, Vasishta, they were all rishis guiding Rama. And Sumantra, for example, is a very good minister. He is very good in guiding all the acts of the kingdom. Then Hanuman was a great minister for Sugriva. Sugriva's minister was Hanuman. He was doing a wonderful service to Sugriva. Then there is servitors. How to be a servitor? We have seen Lakshmana's ideal role. How he is totally dedicated to Rama's service. And then Hanuman, obviously, best Rama Bhakta, Ramadasa. His total surrender. when he was sent to identify where Sita is, not only he spotted where Sita is, he went and he discussed with her, he explained Rama's situation, and then he learnt Sita's emotions, and then he went and destroyed the Lanka, created fear in the mind of enemies, Ravana and others. So all of these uh, show how exemplified he was a servitor. And then messenger, how to be a messenger, good messenger, because even sometimes we need to be messengers. For example, even now I'm a messenger, for example. I'm just trying to give what is given by our Purvacharyas. It's not something which I have concocted or I have made up on my own. So when we are messengers, we have to be true to that role. We have to explain the thought of the person who is conveying the message to the target audience clearly. So when Rama goes to, when Hanuman goes to Sita Pirati, he beautifully explains how Rama is suffering in separation also. Because, see, naturally Sita is suffering in separation. She will expect the same from Rama. Naturally, being a wife, she will think that husband will also be in suffering. When Hanuman goes and says that, he waited 4 months for the rainy season to get over. Obviously, Sita Pirati will not like it. So he doesn't, fully focus on that. He rather focuses on things like, Rama is also not eating in your separation. He is not um, feeling happy at all. He doesn't know what is crawling on him. He just, lies down and he is always uh, unconscious. And if he ever gets consciousness, he just says Sita, Sita. He just recites your name. So he explains the concepts which she wants to listen first. So that is the good role of good way a messenger should be. So that is also done by Hanuman. Angada was also, both Angada and Hanuman both go to Ravana, and both of them convey Rama's position very clearly. And both of them establish that Rama cannot be destroyed anyway. He will certainly will win. So that fear is created by both of them, both Hanuman and Angada, both of them create. So those are some good role models for how a messenger should be. So these are some of the role models. Guru and Sishya, final um, two entities. Both Vasishtha and Vishwamitra, they were exemplary in their roles. They guided all four brothers in the proper dharmic way. Valmiki imparted great knowledge to Kusha and Lava and developed them into a very ideal um, messengers of Bhagavan, because they went and always spread the Sri Ramayanam everywhere. So that was Valmiki's contribution, developing Kusha and Lava. And Shishyas, obviously, Sri Rama and brothers, they were all ideal Shishyas. Kusha and Lava, they were ideal Shishyas. And there are many others. We can go through so many different personalities. We just took a few examples here and there and went through. So this is the how to be roles concept, which kind of gives us an idea whom we can have as role models, how we can shape ourselves, how to bring our mind to this kind of level of maturity in our life. Once we get this understanding, we'll be able to accept the rituals part so easily. If someone comes and if one's mind is accustomed to this kind of following dharma, then if someone comes and says, okay, this is how you have to physically look like as a Sanatana Dharmi, as a Sri Vaishnava, as a Vaishnava, this is how you have to look like, this is how your clothes should be, this is how your face should be, then one will have the mindset to easily accept all of this. If this um, samskara, if this particular understandings, if these impressions are not present in the mind, no matter how we explain to anyone, This is how we should dress. This is how we should wake up in the morning. This is how we should take bath. This is how we should do puja. This is how we should do our daily routines. If we explain that 100 times also, people will not grasp, because the mind is not ready for that. Mind is so indulged in the materialistic thinking, worldly thinking. But when the mind is prepared to see through how our Shastra has presented these principles to us, how the Purvacharyas have given these principles to us, then we will be easily able to adapt these principles and more, all the daily rituals and so on. So that is why this time I focused on these aspects. Maybe in the future we will see what are all the different routines. As a Sanatana Dharmi, what we should do as a routine, as a daily routine, what we should have, how we should study Shastra, what guidance we should take. All of those things we will look into them in subsequent sessions. Just final couple of slides I have here. How to respect others. Again, Sri Rama is the role model for respecting others. He respected his parents, gurus, friends, everyone. He would never make anyone feel down at any time. He will always um, bring them up to his level rather than pushing them down or making them feel that they are worthless. So that is a good role model for us. That is how we should try to be. He even respected his worst enemy, Ravana. When Ravana died, Vibhishana was not ready to do final rites. He said, "Why should I do?" He was very clear in his principles. But Ravana insisted, "No, no, you have to do." And when Ravana became unarmed before, he lost all his weapons. Rama was the first one to say, "You go now, you come back later. I'll not hit you when you are weaponless." So he respected the dharma, he respected the individual person. Actually, uh, once Ravana becomes, um, he loses all his weapons and even his chariot breaks down. At the time, the charioteer drives away the um, chariot. Ravana was kind of unconscious at the time, but when he realizes, he regains consciousness, he becomes very upset with his charioteer. Why do you make it look like I have ran away from the battle? This is a very great insult for me. Because he was a great warrior also. Did not, uh, he was not any less a warrior. So he felt bad like that. So Ravana at all times would respect Rama will always respect Ravana for his bravery. Even Sita Pirati, when he was conversing with Ravana many times before, she would, being a princess, she would always, she knows all the Raja Dharma. So she would always treat Ravana as a king, as a in a proper manner. He would always address him properly and so on. So this is, in the end, if we look at role models, yes, we have role models here, obviously, in this current world. But when we have Sri Rama as the ideal role model, why not try to look up to him, see how he handled adverse situations, how he handled different personalities, how he respected others, how he treated others. Look at them that as the role model. We should not think that Rama is just a historical personality. That is how others will project. You don't have role model, you don't have living role model. Who can live like Rama, they will ask. But we have to boldly say Rama is living amongst us even today. He is present. Every day is present. He is present as Archavataram in so many Divideshams. His teachings are present. His life is present in front of us through Ramayanam. Just like Bhagavatam is living Grantham of Bhagavan. Sri Ramayana is a living Grantham of Bhagavan. So when Bhagavan is present in front of us in the form of Archavataram, in the form of his scriptures, his teachings, his message, then we should boldly say Rama is living amongst us. We should not feel shy, or we should not think, no, no, it's mythology. It's a story made up so that we will live our life in a very decent way. Because uh, Otherwise, we will not have discipline and so on. That is not the reality. All our epics are truth, nothing but truth. There is nothing. There is nothing false in it. There is no made up stories. There is no just niceified stories. Everything is truth. We accept our shastram as a whole. We don't accept that this portion is false, this portion is true. All of our shastram is true. That is what our purvacharyas have shown. We have confidence in our purvacharyas. They are not money minded, they are not fame minded, they did not go and say, raise a temple for me. They did not go and say, give me some bhavana, give me some money so that I can live my life even more comfortably. I'll buy this, I'll buy that. None of the Purvacharyas never looked for money, never looked for fame. So when we have such honest, such fully evolved souls who worked for us, we believe them, we believe in them. If others don't believe in them, that is their issues. They don't need to believe. We don't go and force around everyone saying, you have to believe this, you have to believe this. If you like, you believe them. You taste it and see. You live your life like our Purvacharya said. If you are happy, you take up that life. Otherwise, you leave it. It's up to every individual. So we should be very confidently saying that Sri Rama is with us. He is always guiding us, and we will have him as our ideal role model. So concluding section, in all of this, one important aspect stands out. Practical application of knowledge in life is most important. We can know 100 things, but if we are not able to follow even a few good things in our life, then that's where we are failing. That is where we will not progress in life. So, whatever we learn from our Shastram, from our Purvacharyas, from the great saints, sages, we have to try and start practicing them slowly. Transformations happen over few years, 5 years, 10 years. Nobody transforms in one day. So we have to give that time to each one of us first and then give the time to others surrounding us. We cannot expect fast paced. It's not like there is a machine where we go inside and we are pushed out in the other side in a very pious, totally reformed mahagyani way. So we'll go through our turmoils and our sufferings and low points, high points. We'll have joys in this journey, we'll have sorrows, but we will have to see everything as learning experience. Every step in our life we may get sufferings, scoldings, beatings, whatever it may be. We should see them as stepping stones. It's all culmination of our karma. If that point, going back to where we started in the beginning, everything is our karma. If someone is praising us on a stage, that is because of our karma. That is because of the grace of our Purvacharyas, elders. If something is happening bad to us, then that is also because of our karma. If we are happy to take the praises, we should also be evenly happy to take the beatings also. So we should be even minded, and that comes with practical application of whatever we learn. Self realization is most important step in our Sanatana Dharma. That is where we started. Without realizing that I am Atma, I am not this body, I have this body. Without this self realization, at least at the basic level, we are not going to be completely. If even now, if someone starts beating me, I will not say, "Oh, you are only beating my body." Very happy. I'm not going to say that. I'm still going to be start. I'm going to start crying or whatever it is. That reaction will be there because even though we understand that we are Atma, we are not fully realized. So, but that first step should also at least be there. That step should also develop, progress slowly. Learn our traditional values and system. This is an important aspect. These are concluding points which I am going through. Our Purvacharyas, our Alvars, sages, saints, they have spent so many years going through Shastram, revalidating it, finding out the best practices, and they have given us what is most suitable for all of us. So we have to trust our traditional value system and try to learn them and follow them. Next point is ask questions to the right authorities and learn properly. This is very important. Whenever there is an opportunity, ask questions. In our Sanatana Dharma, there is so much room for questioning. As long as that questioning comes with humility and true intent to learn, there should not be any other motivation. If that is there, then one should boldly, without any hesitation, ask any number of questions and keep learning and keep evolving. And the question should be asked to the right authorities. We know we have Google, but still, it is not the end of the world. We have to go beyond Google. We have to step out of our computer and seek knowledge from people who have the knowledge, who have the experience, who have the realizations to some extent. So, anonymous, non-parampara sources must be avoided. Biggest problem we have, everyone will accept this in this room, is WhatsApp forwards. This is the biggest problem in our life. Every time we open our WhatsApp, we have so many forwards. That is an anonymous quotes content. That's something which we have to keep discarding. It is not something to intake. Anonymous sources, anonymous quotes, anonymous messages, anonymous information, however nice it may be presented. In fact, it will be presented better than the truth. They'll package it so nicely, they'll put nice memes and they will make it look so real. But we have to be very, very careful that everything anonymous should be completely rejected. Nothing coming from non-parampara sources should be accepted. Anything which comes from parampara, that is, there should be a tradition. We have many, many traditions in our Bharatadesham. Many sages have gone through this cycle of knowledge, learning, and they have passed it on to the next generation. And then they passed it on to the next generation. In this manner, knowledge is being transmitted through generations. So we have to trust knowledge which comes through the generations. Suddenly, one person will come and say, I am this uh, guru, I am this Baba, I am this person. And they say that, I know everything because I know, because you accept that, because I know. I don't believe in Vedam, I don't believe in Shastram, but I quote from Vedam whenever I feel it is required. So that is how people are marketing knowledge and realization in so many different ways, so many different packages. Those must be completely rejected. That is what we have to avoid first. Parents' responsibility, every child should be at least given at least 1 hour per day of dharmic education. We have to ensure some kind of dharmic exposure should be there. Something such as Panchatantra stories, even from childhood, Alvar's history, Acharya's history, Sri Ramayanam, Mahabharatam, so many nice stories from Shastram are extracted and preserved and presented. We must keep educating children from right from the young age. When they get good morals through these stories, the children will obviously oriented towards dharma. When they are taught just materialistic stories, rhymes, and these things, their orientation will be only towards that. So it is absolutely the responsibility of the parents. Every child going against dharma, that is completely the parents' responsibility. No one else is more responsible than the parents. So the parents' responsibility from the early life of the children, they should educate their children nicely and give some constant engagement. It should not be dry. It should be engaging for them. The children should like the way we were all raised. Grandmothers, grandfathers, they will tell us stories. I My grandmother would have told me the story of Gajendra Moksham at least 100 times to me. Still, you would ask her, what happened to that elephant? That is how we were raised. But nowadays, that is totally lacking. So, parents should engage with the children in very positive way. Ensure that the children develop jnanam, bhakti, vairagyam. These three are the pillars of dharma. Jnanam, bhakti, vairagyam. One should get knowledge, devotion, and one should be detached. One should learn to be detached. Renunciation is very, very important, because whatever we are attached to, there is no guarantee that that particular object or entity, that person, is going to be with us in the next moment. So why be attached with anything or anyone? So that detachment should be developed from childhood. Practice our rituals without shyness and any expectation for any benefit. So it should be done purely as ordained in Shastram, as something which we need to follow. Naturally, by following Shastram, one's mind will become purified. That is the side benefit of following Shastram. Observing our dharma is ordained by Bhagavan. Bhagavan has said that we should observe Shastram, we should follow Shastram. There is a side benefit for us. It is not that we just blindly follow Shastram, Dharma. By following Dharma, by following all the rituals which are given for each Varna, each Ashrama, one's mind will become purified. One's Sattva Gunam will grow, will nurture, will develop. So that is the side benefit. That will happen naturally. And those activities, rituals, whatever they may be, each ritual has a particular purpose and a meaning. Doing that as a service to Bhagavan, purely as with that attitude, will also bring up the Swarupa of the Atma in line. So that is where we started Atma. Now we are completing with that. So Atma's Swarupa of being a good follower of Bhagavan will be fulfilled if one follows Dharma without any expectation. So that is where I will conclude. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to share. Before going into the questions, I will again thank Srimati Bhargavi for making this effort single-handedly. Of course, you all helped from this society. Yeah, definitely you all helped, but she drove it and took up all the logistics and coordination and all of that. So I thank her for this effort, and thank all of you for being present here and listening patiently, even though many portions of the discourse may have been, or speech may have been boring. Still, you are all very patient and receptive. So thank you all. Hope there were some points which helped in your understanding, improving your understanding about Dharmam and so on. So feel free to interact. If you have any questions, you can ask now, or if you have anything to say, or anyone has anything to say, please feel free to say. You can use the.
I think I
Okay, sure.
You were talking about Chit.
Huh.
You said we are all Chit because we can understand we have minds, soul, body. Where do we place these animals, birds, and creepers which we ever do in mythology? For example, Garuda,
Huh.
or say,
No mythology.
snake.
No mythology. Don't say mythology.
It is in our religion.
Yeah.
So, cows, elephant, these things we ever.
Yeah.
So where is they are Chit or Achit? As I understand,
Okay.
the objects which do not give like this table, chair, these are Achit as you say. So where do you place these animals, birds?
Yeah.
Creepers?
See, as far as Sanatana Dharma goes, just as I am an Atma, when I say I am an Atma, I'm not talking about this body. This is only a body. Similarly, inside the cow's body, there is an Atma. Inside the bird's crow's body, there will be an Atma. So in every body, everything which you can see with name or form, there is an Atma. Now there are two concepts, sentient and insentient, living and non-living. So two concepts, we have to differentiate between those two. That is done in our Sanatana Dharma. Sentient and insentient is, I am a sentient person, Atma is sentient. This body is insentient. It doesn't have anything on my own. How will we know, how do we say that? When this Atma leaves the body, this body then has no reaction to anything. It just stays as a body. So that is why Atma inside the body is what is the cause for all the actions of the body. The same way, any action done by a cow, any action done by a crow, any action done by a tiger, all of that is done by the Atma inside the body, which we see. But when it comes to living beings and non-living beings, which is what is differentiated in the science generally, there we will say humans, animals, birds, to some extent plants will be considered as living beings, but all other objects will be non-living beings. But when it comes to sentient and insentient, in that case, Atma is sentient, everything else is insentient, even body is insentient. So that is the difference between Chit and Achit. So human beings, animals, they are all living beings. When it comes to non-living beings, we will say a table is a non-living being. So in that case, we see some difference. In that, in certain religions, they say only humans have higher value, others don't have value. They exist for humans and so on. But in our Sanatana Dharma, all Atmas have different bodies, and each body is a result of that Atma's own karma. It is not something which has randomly happened. Nothing is done randomly. Everything is by design only. So this design keeps going on, and there is scope for improvement in every body. If I am in the human body today, I do have scope for either liberation or getting a better um, body, which is maybe a human being with higher knowledge, higher understanding, and so on. So that is also possible. But I can also go down. If I do wrong deeds, I may also get a different body, maybe animal body, a plant body, depends on one's wrong deeds. Yeah.
So suppose we do Sharanagati at 40, for example, but actually when we leave the body, let us say at 90.
Hmm.
So Sharanagati at 40 we realize. No, and we leave the body only at 90. But for Sharanagati to happen, our Papa and Punya score should be 0.
Hmm.
Right. So, but during that 50-year period, we are still accumulating Punya and Papa, knowingly or unknowingly. Unknowingly, it's okay, but if knowingly also feels do something. But our body is done. We will keep doing some karma, right? Till the last year, only let's say we do Silvaradhana or whatever. But what will happen to that punya of the Silvaradhana at the end? How will that score become 0 then?
Huh. So here, one particular correction in the beginning in your statement, that for one to do Sharanagati, one's Punya Papa need not be 0 at that point.
Correct.
It will not even out at that point. When we do Sharanagati, what happens is, Bhagavan looks at us, he looks at all our past karma. Our past karma is accumulated since time immemorial. There is no beginning for that. There has been so many countless innumerable births. We have done so many actions in all of those janmas, all of those births. All of those are accumulated. That particular karma, whole bag, let's say we have one full bag, that will be divided into two bags. That is Sanchita karma, Prarabdha karma. Now, Sanchita karma is the whole big accumulated bag, big baggage we have been carrying all along. Now, Prarabdha karma is the karma which is allocated by Bhagavan when he starts. Remember, we started about Srishti, when he does a Mahasrishti, when the cycle of Brahma's life starts. At that time, there is a Mahasrishti happens. At that time, he takes certain amount of karma from each individual soul, each Atma, and allocates that karma, which will go on for certain number of births. Let's say 1,000 births, 2,000 births, how many ever births, we don't know. It could be whole life of Brahma, 1,000 years, 100 years of Brahma also. That karma is prarabdha karma. That itself is huge, because if you think about innumerable births karma, it is so big. In that, let's say one day of Brahma or particular number of 1,000 or 2,000 births for this particular Atma, amount of karma. This is like normalized karma. This is like some amount of good case scenario that this person will do this action, and then there is, in this manner, there is some basic computation by Bhagavan, and he will give that prarabdha karma. So that starts off a new cycle. So this prarabdha karma, this Atma is going on for this Atma. Now prarabdha karma is, now for all of us, the prarabdha karma is turning. Sanchita karma is there, that unopened bag is there, big bag is there. Prarabdha karma is running now. Now in this prarabdha karma, when a person does Sharanagati, at that time, at that time, when that Sharanagati happens, Bhagavan similarly puts a basic computation based on his original birth and the decided upon death time. Let's say 50 years, as you said, 40 to 90, 50 years are there. So that 50 years, whatever normal karma which is required, Bhagavan will leave that karma and eliminate everything else. That is the big favor done by Bhagavan for Sharanagata. That prarabdha karma is not eliminated for others. It is eliminated only for Sharanagatas. So when the Sharanagata got relieved of that remaining portion of the prarabdha karma also, now what is remaining is that 50 years of karma. This is again good case scenario where he just lives a normal life. But as you say, right from the day of Sharanagati, I am going to start doing karma. Now, when I do that karma, whether it is a good deed or bad deed, depending on that, there is going to be a result. So that keeps getting accumulated in the remaining of the karma which we have. In that, now Bhagavan has the biggest challenge. He has to ensure that that gets finished, that whole karma gets finished, so that he can take the individual to Paramapadam, to Vaikuntha. So he is in the biggest challenging position. Now we are not in the challenging position, because we do whatever we want. Whether we are done Sharanagati or not, we do whatever we want and we keep accumulating good or bad karma. But it is Bhagavan's big responsibility to ensure that somehow whatever karma is accumulated, that is also eliminated, that is also exhausted. Now that exhaustion can happen either through prayashchitam or experiencing the result. Now punya karma means experiencing the result. So naturally, let's say we go somewhere, we get some gift unexpectedly. Some punya karma has made that happen. So whatever punya karma happens like that, Bhagavan will give some whatever desires we have, something good we like, that will be fulfilled. Now whatever bad karma we do, now that we either have to experience the result of it or we do prayashchitam. Only two options. Now for certain karma we don't have option to do prayashchitam, and certain karma may be very very bad. In that case, Bhagavan will be forced. If the karma is very very bad, maybe we will get very very bad results. This is how we see sometimes Sharanagatas, Prapannas, those who are surrendered to Bhagavan, they go through great sufferings. That is because they have done very very sinful actions maybe. That is why some people suffer bedridden for 20 years, 30 years, 10 years. Some people go through accidents, they lose limbs. Some people lose family members. Some people lose their wealth. So whatever is desire for very dear for them, they lose that. They go through sufferings, great sufferings. That is all because of bad karma, which has to be exhausted. Now, Bhagavan's act here of making sure that the Atma Sharanagata is experiencing the result here itself and taking the Atma to Paramapadam is the most merciful act actually. Because if he doesn't let the Atma go through that suffering, then obviously that karma needs to be exhausted. He has to take another birth. Or if Bhagavan lets the Atma not go through any suffering at all, then what will happen? The Jivatma will lose the desire to go to Parampadam, Vaikuntham. He'll say, oh, this is comfortable here. I'm not having any suffering. Oh, it's very joyful. Wherever I go, I am being honored. I am being, given the first seat. I'm being given good money. I'm being good, treated very nicely. So once comfort zone will increase in this world, and that will reduce the ruchi to go to Vaikuntham. So it is Bhagavan's most merciful act that he goes through a little bit suffering here. Compared to our sins, actually we are not going through much suffering. Like in the beginning we said, we did not lose our wife or husband for 14 years or 10 months in separation where someone has captured. We don't, we are not put in exile for 14 years. You cannot come to your own home. Nobody is saying that. So we are not going through. Maybe some are going through such sufferings, but not everyone is going through some sufferings like that. So Bhagavan is most merciful that he has already reduced our sufferings as much as possible by eliminating all the prarabdha karma and also the portion of he has already eliminated the sanchita karma and the portion of prarabdha karma which is required, which is not required in this life. So what is left with us is very small portion of our karma. Now our responsibility is to ensure that we don't add more bad karma or good karma also, because good karma also is like uh, gold shackles. Bad karma is like iron shackles. Because good karma also, if we do good karma, keep doing good karma, then we will get good things. Then that will increase the bondage here. So that is why our Purvacharyas have emphasized on doing all activities without any expectation for the results. So only when we expect the results, will become associated with it. Otherwise, the results will come. Nobody, it's explained by our Acharya that if you put the stone up, it will come down for sure. Nobody will be able to stop it. It is natural. So we will get results. But whether we associate with them, whether we feel attached towards them, that is what is in our hand. So when we show detachment from the results, then that balance, because Bhagavan's arrangement of balance will be comfortable for us. It will give us a comfortable life. We will not go through much sufferings. At the same time, we will not go through much enjoyment. It will be a moderate life. We will just live a comfortable life. The moment we take extra efforts to do punya karma and do this yajna, do that yajna, make sure that we have good, comfortable, additional comforts. Then, when such comforts come, naturally the opposite will also happen here and there, and that sufferings will not be tolerable for us. And then that will be only more aggravating. It will only increase more and more. So our responsibility is to ensure that we do all our activities as Kankaryam only, as service to Bhagavan only. Whatever we do, whether we go to temple, we do Tiruvaradhanam, whether we feed Bhagavatas, others, whatever we do, whether we do our rituals, daily activities, Sandhyavandanam or whatever, everything must be done as Kankaryam. So when we do it as Kankaryam, Bhagavan is seeing that, oh, this Atma is obeying me. So he is fulfilling his responsibility. Let me fulfill my responsibility. So he will fulfill his responsibility of delivering us. We have to fulfill our responsibility of obeying him. So it becomes For both, there is no inducing. I am not inducing him with my activities to get him to do certain things. And he is not inducing me, showing the carrot of liberation to make me behave well. Then it becomes like a business. Rather, it should be natural outpouring love of Jivatma towards Paramatma and Paramatma towards Jivatma. That is how our Acharyas have established. The whole Sampradayam is based on this principle only. So he does his duty, we do our duty. And we do it with love. It's not like, oh, it's my duty, I have to go to office. It's not like that. It's a really enjoyable duty. It is, as a Jivatma, I have to serve Bhagavan. As Paramatma, he has to protect me. He has no other escape route. He has to protect me. And whether we like it or not, he is the one who is protecting us. Whether it is atheist or theist, Hindu or Muslim or Christian or whatever names we say, it is ultimately Bhagavan who is protecting everyone. Every human being, animals, everything is being protected by him. So he does his responsibility, we do our responsibility.
By virtue of being born in Vaishnava families, we get our this thing done, Panchasamskaram done, which is Saranagati. But not all of us, we live by our our Varnashrama dharmas. So how does reaching Ramapada work in that context? We don't do our Varnashrama dharma, but by virtue of being born in this family, we've done it in that age. It has automatically happened. So how does God look at it and how does Bhagavan take us to Brahma in that context?
No, his intent is to ensure that we follow our Varnashrama dharma, we follow our dharma in whole. Because the fact that we are born in this family, in any family, that is not a random choice. It is based on one's own karma. And again, being born in a Vaishnava family itself is a great blessing. That is by Bhagavan's mercy. It is his special mercy. But his expectation is that we uphold that standard. Now, if we don't uphold that standard, if we don't live by our established norms, then we also cannot expect him to deliver us. That is as simple as that. Now, it will come down to his independence, his free will, which will grant us liberation or not at the end of our life. That is what it is basically. That's all it comes down to, because he sets certain rules and regulations. We have to follow these rules and regulations. If we don't follow, then we cannot claim. If we follow, at least we can claim. That is what Alvars and Acharyas do. I'm trying to be as you say, so you try to be what you are. That is what Alvars and Acharyas say. But if we don't follow, then we cannot claim liberation. Maybe the fact that we've done Saranagati and we are doing some good things, maybe our life will be better in the next Janma. And Bhagavan is merciful. The fact that he has guided us thus far, his intention is to take us fully. So he is trying, but if we pull away from him, then he will still try a few times. If this birth fails, then he will give maybe next birth, another birth, where we are placed in a conducive position, where we have the opportunity to reach him quickly. But if we still deviate from all the principles, then again we cannot guarantee anything. But still, he has the free will, and our acharyas have this parampara connection where they take the disciples and lead them to Bhagavan. So, one aspect is following Varnashrama Dharma 100%, or whatever percentage at least one should be doing. Because if you look at again last 60 years, things have changed drastically. Before it wasn't like this. At least people were holding up to their basic dharma. So now we are totally digressing from the whole scheme of things. So it will have repercussions. Maybe not everyone will be liberated. At least one should have the desire to be liberated. One should at least feel very, very bad that we are not able to follow our dharma. One should repent and one should keep asking for forgiveness to Bhagavan. That's all one can do from one's own side. But one must strive. It is like if what is very strange is people are able to accept changes. We were talking about accepting change is very difficult while coming. But people are able to accept changes when it comes to body. If a person is diagnosed with sugar, he is ready to give up all food habits which are there for him. Now he is ready to change all diet and everything out of fear for death, basically. That's all it comes down to. Everyone is fearful of death. Nobody can feel death bravely. Only real Prapannas can feel strong when faced with death. It is said actually Prapannas will wait for death happily because that is the day when they are going to reach Paramapadam, right? So it should be a happy day for them. So other than that, people will be fearful about death. So for that, people are willing to change the whole food habits, everything. Their whole routine will be changed. But when it comes to the welfare of Atma, well-being of Atma, people are reluctant to change. That is partly because of not having complete faith. See, we are able to understand that the body is degrading when we see physical reaction. But Atma degrading, we are not able to understand, or we are not able to accept it in the mind. So when that acceptance comes, naturally change will come. So that is why we see many people are changing. Even people with a different background, not, we are talking about people with, as you say, Vaishnava background, we are taking up to this sampradayam. But many people not from this background, they are taking up this sampradayam. How? Because they are able to accept the facts. They are able to accept the principles more than us. When that acceptance is there, they are able to follow better than us, even from background which is not sampradaya background. So we have to strive to develop our understanding and acceptance and our faith. When that happens, things will change. But if that doesn't happen, then it's a hit or miss. I think it's getting late. Our YouTube channel is there, koil.org channel is there. Anyone can subscribe and follow there. Our WhatsApp number is also there. Srimati Bhargavi can give for anyone who needs our WhatsApp number. And if there are any further doubts, they can be sent to us through WhatsApp or any other means. Again, thank you for the opportunity.
Adian wants to thank Swami for taking his time out and coming all the way from Srinagar. It's been a hectic day. Morning he has been to Tirunelveli and then all the way here. Thank you, Swami, for taking the time. It has been a big crash course on our Siddhanta, our Sampradaya, starting from Chitta Chittishwara to Vedams, to Itihasams, to Ramayana and what we can learn from Ramayana and Q&A. It's been a huge marathon that we have ran with a smiling face. We're very, very thankful for that. Thank you for this opportunity. And I thank Shrimati for organizing this event here. Because of her efforts, we are able to be here with this song, hold all these people together. So thank you. And again, if there are any other things, we'll continue.
Yeah, we'll continue subsequently in our technology connections. One good thing is actually this place is beautifully quiet. There was no disturbance, which is in the middle of the city. It's good that we had this quiet environment. Okay. Thank you all. Sure. Parvada. ஆழ்வார் எம்பெருமானார் ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம், ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம்.